The Rogue Room appreciates your recommendation. Welcome to the Rogue Room. We hope you enjoy your stay.
Hello friends, welcome back to the Rogue Room. My name is Abigail and you are tuned in here on Twitch, I suppose. I don't broadcast this anywhere else, so you would have to be here on Twitch to be listening to me right now. Has anyone done that as a format, I wonder? Before we get into everything about today, about this very special of occasions, shall we call it? Ears, yeah, I got... These are supposed to be kangaroo ears. Shall I show off the outfit? Here's a curious thing that I was thinking about. It's like the streams I've been doing lately are effectively turning into a 3-hour radio show, to the point where I'm considering adding in the radio tag to my streams at this point. Given the format, you know, without the music, I'm effectively turned into a radio show or a podcast almost. And I'm considering, I mean, I can't stream it anywhere else because I'm an affiliate. I could break my affiliate contract and then stream to multiple different places, but then you guys can't help me meet my very reasonable sub goal of 50. We're already at 40. It's only 10 more. It's only like $50, come on. But let me show you this stupid outfit I put together. This dumbass. This thing that I was genuinely considering trying to find something like this, and I thought, it is Australia Day, like today. There's no way in hell, if anywhere had any stock of anything even vaguely similar to this, it would be long gone. And I found one of those little cheap shops, you know, that you go to, and they got a bunch of just random assorted garbage in them. And they had a whole aisle of all this Australia Day stuff, so I thought, fuck it. Let's grab this tank dress, and we'll go with that. And it works. It works alright. For the disrespect I'm about to bemoan upon the flag, I suppose. How you doing, Froggy? What's going on? What's happening? Hashtag podcast? I mean, I do upload these to Rogue Offline. If you guys type exclamation mark YT, you'll get my YouTube channels. Yes, I have Australia flag party cups as well. For my water. The rain has stopped, which is kind of worrying with the weather you're hiding from. I'm sorry to hear that. I hope it clears up, Rena. It doesn't sound very good. It doesn't sound like a very promising situation. What kind of weather are you experiencing at the moment? But yes, it is here. It is Australia Day. Here in Australia, tornado watch. Goodness gracious me. I don't know if Australia gets if Australia gets tornadoes. I get the suspicion we don't. I don't recall. At the very least, I've never heard of Australia having tornadoes. I might be wrong. You have the best hoodie in Minecraft. Oh, did you like make a skin outside of the game, or did you use the options that are available in the game? Because I've seen my kids playing it mainly on console and stuff, and there's an option in there to make your own outfit now. I don't know how it works. That's pretty cool. I have not explored that myself. Java doesn't seem to have it, I don't think. At least last I checked, I couldn't access that thing in Java, so. Another way for Mojang and Microsoft to monetize the hell out of an incredibly successful children's game. Still, good stuff, good stuff. I'll have to give it a look at some point, see if I can figure it out. I think I did fiddle with it a bit. But anywho, at any rate, how's everyone been doing? How has your day been so far? You forgot it was Australia Day till about an hour ago. Honestly, I think maybe it's just people... I have to give credit where credit is due. I have not seen much in the way of anyone celebrating anything. I haven't seen much in the way of... That's not a poll. That can't be a poll. That's a subjective question you're asking. That can't be a poll. I haven't heard anyone hooting and hollering. I think I heard my next door neighbor over there. Not that next door neighbor. Good news. Good news, everyone. That next door neighbor has fucked right off. They're gone. For anyone who has been following the saga of the noisy neighbor with the abuse and the dog that they weren't supposed to have. Why is my tricep wobbling? That should not be doing that. I have muscles, thanks. They are gone. They are out of here. They have left for the rest of time. I hope. I hope to goodness. I mean, I used to live in that unit and then moved out of that unit and then came back and now I'm in this unit. So it's entirely possible that they could cycle back through the real estate system and wind up right back in that house. I hope not. Fucking hope not. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. They're gone now. Favorite Aussie Day memory? I don't have any. Like, we're gonna get into exactly why that is, despite the fact that I am wearing the little kangaroo ears, and I got 2 flags here. I try to do something. Okay, I'll show you. I don't know if you'll see it. No, you won't. I try to do something today. I tried to be edgy on the Patriot Day of Australia. I bought a little 2-pack of flags and I tried to burn this one for the sake of, haha, look, I'm an edgelord burning the flag on Australia Day, disrespecting the flag. This motherfucker doesn't burn. It did not catch fire. Was I supposed to spray it with a flammable liquid or something? Look at this. There's little holes in it. It was so disappointing, you have no idea. Piece of shit. The ears are kind of cute. They're little flimsy cardboard pieces of crap, so I don't expect them to last terribly long. But yeah, it melts. It's acrylic. I should see if I can set fire to it with something on it, but I should have got a cloth one or something. Yeah. What a disappointment. I'm so annoyed. Trying to make a political statement, damn it. But yeah, we have another one. There's another one over there. We can wave that one around. Do you reckon the dress will catch fire? Hopefully not with me in it. Fingers crossed. Maybe the dress is made of acrylic too. Oh, at the very least, though. At the very least, it is Australia Day, and yeah, like I said, maybe it's the pandemic or something. We could melt it on a hot plate. I could do that. Put it in the oven. Stick it in the oven, see what happens. I have not, yeah. Typically, I've noticed Australia Day is a pretty loud day. Like, if Australia Day is going on, you hear it around the neighborhood and stuff like that. You'll hear people having their parties and their barbecues and all that. At most, I think I saw one of the neighbors up the street with a big blue tent set up in their backyard, which might indicate they're having a barbecue. But it's entirely possible most people forgot it happens today because the pandemic's on. So they just looked over Australia Day, which is good. No disrespect, but nothing says we're a colonialism baby like having another country's flag inside yours. Exactly. Look at this shit. Australia, a country of fucking simps for another nation. Can you believe it? Ridiculous. The Union Jack, at the very least, and this is tricky because I have heard, but I've heard Aboriginal people, Indigenous people do not like the Southern Cross either. For reasons that escape me, I'm not quite sure what that is. But they will say explicitly, you know, obviously the Union Jack is colonialist by its very definition. Sticking that flag in the rest of the flag indicates we're still a part of the British Empire. Because, you know, there's no reason to not change that flag, honestly. There are many changes you could make to that. And apparently many Indigenous people, as far as I've read, we'll get into this later, as far as I've read, the Southern Cross is not something they hold sacred. Maybe not necessarily something they find offensive, but it's just kind of like, that's not our thing. Thereby, that whole flag does not represent Indigenous people in any way whatsoever. And we're going to get into the whole story of Australia Day and why it is such a controversial day, why people want to change the date, all these kinds of things. How's Australia handling LGBTQ people? Well, I need to look more into that. I do believe, I have had no issues being me and presenting as who I am. I've had no confrontation about my identity. I have no doubts in my mind, however, that queer people in Australia are treated with disrespect in perhaps other areas of the world. I have no doubt in my mind that if there was a pride parade on or something like that, there would be no shortage of detractors from that idea. But generally speaking, I think Australia is largely a progressive country when it comes to queer rights. So that's the understanding I've been given. Of course, like anything, there's going to be bigoted people. The last big thing I heard with regards to any sort of queerphobia in Australia, I received an email a little while back detailing that there is apparently still, it's apparently still either legal in a state to do conversion therapy, which they were trying to fight back against, or there was a conversion therapy camp that they were trying to get shut down. That's the biggest thing I've heard. I need to look more into, like, I think there's a site called Equality Australia, which tends to talk about that stuff. Strangely enough, I haven't looked into queer issues in Australia all that heavily, because I guess it never really comes up in the news. Maybe I'm not paying enough attention to Australian news, which I have been today. I've been reading quite a bit of stuff about Australia. A bit of Australian news topics. But it seems like the forefront of the discussion on queer stuff, when it comes to the news that I usually consume, comes from other countries, like namely the UK thing right now, with the trans kids. I think you mentioned this before, you love that length of hair on me. I love it too, it looks good. It's looking good. I'm really happy with my hair at the moment. It's really reaching a point where I'm like, I am enjoying this. This is what I want. I wanted to move my hair over to this side. Hello Mel, how are you doing? Welcome in. What's happening? What's the news? How's the world treating you? We are very, very disrespectfully talking about Australia Day today. I'm a dreadful person. Water and coffee. Might as well do a 1-2 hit of it. Alright, so. Hello there, Fluffy. How you doing? One thing I'm not too fussed by about these is the red border around them. I'm like, what the hell is that about? But these are supposed to be kangaroo ears. That's my headband for tonight. Is the little kangaroo ears with the Australian flag on them. And they're the same on the back too. They're not like different. They don't look particularly unique on the back either. You're not too bad? I'm not too bad. You could go for coffee, but it's 11 p.m. there. Hasn't stopped me in the past, let me tell you. It has not stopped me in the past. I've had coffee late at night. Super late. What do you think of this, by the way? 2 cameras. Although I'm not the greatest fan of why the color in this one is washed out at the moment. I don't know what that is. I don't get the deal there. This one is my favorite shot at the moment. I'm loving the way this scene looks. Because of the light, yeah, I think there's light coming in from behind me that's or that light there. And there's also sunlight coming in. I think once the sun goes down, this scene will look a lot better. But yeah, the white balance is a bit thrown off, which we fiddled with yesterday and made this scene look really nice. So maybe I can fiddle with the white balance on the other one. Actually, where is it? Let's go to it. Let's fiddle with the white balance. A tad. Well, that makes it more red. Makes it more blue. We set it about... That didn't help. I don't know if that's it. Ah, whatever. I think maybe the brightness is too high on this one. We lower that a bit. Heighten the contrast a bit. We get a bit more of the vibe I'm going for. There we go. That looks better. Now it kind of matches this one. What do you reckon? Does it look good? Does that look good? Kind of. Not perfect, but it'll do. But yeah, having the bulb there is kind of a pain in the ass. If I could put that somewhere else. But I put that one there specifically so I would have pink light on my face from this side. Which does not do all that much. You can barely see it most of the time. I don't know why I thought to put it there. I might actually mount... If I can figure out a way to do it, I want to mount it on top of the door. At the corner of the door up there. It's a possibility. Further down the line. We'll see. Oh, as for right now though, I've been browsing my Amazon wishlist, which I don't need to be doing. I don't need to be looking at stuff that I cannot have. How do I feel about the protests? Were there actually protests? Have you got a link, Fluffy? If there were protests, please give me a link to them right now. It could be fit behind the monitor, it could be. It would be tricky though, because I'd have to... I'm looking at getting a new desk. They were on the news, let's have a look. Let's have a look, let's launch right into it. Wednesday, what the fuck? No. Listen to our voice, Invasion Day rally crowds march through Melbourne. Let's have a... Holy shit, let's have a look. What the fuck have we here? A new React border, fam. What up? Alright. Check this shit out, okay? I can change camera angles. You got 9 news, well I've got the age. Does it matter which one we use? I mean, I don't know if 9 news is any better. Invasion Day rally concludes peacefully in Sydney, 4 arrested at secondary gathering. Do we know of the political leaning of either of these? Let's read through them. You know, I've been a proponent for the longest time of like just read sources, read news, media, and maintain a critical view of the words they use, the writing that they use. So fuck it. If the age is right wing or whatever, I don't know, or 9 News, whatever. Read whatever sources you have available to you and just maintain a critical mind. Don't let them get their propaganda tendrils inside your head. Think for yourself. Sheeple. Anyway, shall we read about... Listen to our voice, Invasion Day rally, crowds march through Melbourne. Thousands of people have marched through Melbourne's CBD, that's Central Business District, in a socially distanced, COVID-safe rally to mark Invasion Day. That amuses me. I mean, thank you to everyone who participated for maintaining your social distancing and wearing your masks and all that in a protest. You're doing way better than America ever did in the same sense. During both Black Lives Matter and the White House, Capitol Hill protests. You know, in both of those circumstances, there were a lot of people not wearing masks. America, there's a reason you have the highest COVID death count. Please, for the love of God, wear masks and social distance. Our protesters are doing it right. They're wearing their fucking masks. Over here we had conservative people protesting having to wear masks, and when BLM protests kicked off, they complained no one was paying attention to them anymore. Oh god. Anti-maskers can go in the bin. Furthermore, allow me to make a little point. This isn't even about the protest. There's nothing... We're not even talking about the protest yet. Why would you not want to wear a mask all the time and look like Sub-Zero or Scorpion, a Mortal Kombat ninja? Seriously, I'm gonna look at some Mortal Kombat ninja masks. I'm gonna buy one to get around looking like one of the Mortal Kombat ninjas. I'll take some suggestions if you have any. Beth, I am reluctant to tell you that the flag burning didn't work. It's plastic. I tried, it just melts. I bought plastic flags. And I didn't burn it in here, I burned it outside. I did record it, but it's not really worth watching. I'm disappointed. My edgy little flag burning statement didn't happen. I'm sad now. I wasted $4 on these fucking things. I'll keep that one for some reason. Apparently it is about calling it Invasion Day. Your argument is, well, if today wasn't a public holiday, then you wouldn't be able to protest about being called Australia Day. Well, true. But my freedoms... That's true. I hate the people who use my freedom as an argument against wearing the masks. Like, it's so stupid. It's to protect, like, have some empathy. Have some selflessness for once in your fucking lives. Wear the mask. Care about somebody else's health for once. There are people out there who literally can't leave their homes out of fear of potentially catching COVID from someone who's not wearing a mask. You don't have to smile at people in Hallelujah. Also, you'd be prettier if you smiled comments have stopped. Thanks. Thank God. I have my rights. What? And I don't have rights to be concerned about my health. Reminds me of like the other day at the museum. We will come back to the article, I promise you. We'll come back to the article in a moment. Reminds me of, at the museum the other day, the lady who was signing us in to the museum, or checking us in, whatever it's called, had a badge on that said, I have a reason that I don't need to wear a mask. And I'm like, fuck right off. I hate that bullshit. It's like, no. No, you don't. Get out of here. Would you rather celebrate Australia? I would rather neither. I mean, I would celebrate Australia Day if it wasn't on January 26th, and we're going to get into exactly why that is, which is in this article in just a moment. So the dumbest thing ever on Facebook today, was it the guy who was arguing with me about Invasion Day? the guy who was calling me mentally ill and insulting my transness because I dared to not retweet, fucking hell, I'm spending too much time on Twitter. I dared to Facebook share the post that said, good morning to everyone, except those who celebrate Australia Day. What rights are being taken from you? The right to spread disease! I want to be a spreader of the plague. That's what they're saying to you. That's what they're saying to you. It's like they want to spread the plague. That's their point that they want to make there. Also, generally speaking, anti-maskers don't believe COVID is that bad or real at all. So, there's that whole thing. The protest went ahead. We continue. Despite coronavirus rules limiting gatherings to 100 people, with organisers encouraging attendees to split into smaller groups as they set off from the steps of Parliament House. Thousands of protesters marched through the city on Tuesday. Here we go. Aboriginal leader Uncle Bill Nicholson told the crowd there was a deliberate ignorance in Australia about the history of the land. The British tried everything to eradicate us after their invasion, but it didn't work. Indigenous activist Uncle Gary Foley said he had gone to a similar rally on January 26 calling for justice and truth 51 years ago. Actually, I was reading about the history of Australia Day, and it's remarkable how young the concept of Australia Day is. My grandparents are almost as old as the concept of Australia Day, or at least what we now know as Australia Day. In fact, no. I might need to revise exactly what I'm thinking here, but I believe there is a... Hey, Strawberry Phoenix!
Guests. Welcome
to the Rogue Room. Friendos, how you doing? My name is Abigail. Or Rogue Bitch. And we're chilling.
Welcome to the Rogue Room.
Flyboy Jordan 10,
enjoy
welcome
your stay
to the Rogue Room. Sit down, grab a drink, and chill out with us. Here in Australian Newstopia, I suppose, today. We're a news source at the moment. How you doing? What were you streaming? Tell me all about it. I don't think I have any mods at the moment, so I'm going to have to do the shout out. Doing some Among Us.
You are
oh my
now
goodness,
one
Rena. Your first gift sub to Beth, thank you so kindly. We got a raid and a gift sub to start us off. Thank you so kindly. Oh, also, hang on a second. Let me make sure my stream labels is actually up. Because my thing is not going to update if I don't put that there. Playing some Among Us. How'd you go? How'd you go with Among Us? How did you go with Among Us? Did you get many kills? So some chick was quoting a Bible verse that was basically saying ladies who wear purple while also wearing gold and pearl necklaces are the devil. In response to what Kamala Harris and Michelle Obama were wearing on Wednesday. Oh my god, you're right, yeah. You're right, get it up. How delightfully specific. Hello Zinky, how you doing? Tons of fun, all the kills. I have to give Among Us another go at some point. I've only played it once. And it was not bad. It was not bad. It was alright. But I just never got back into it. It's amazing the staying power of that game though. Like it feels contrasted with Fall Guys, right? Remember Fall Guys? Let me just look at what is it called? Among Us. Let me just look at the category really quickly. Alright, the category for Among Us. Oh, it's only got 11.4 thousand at the moment. But it feels like Among Us greatly overtook Fall Guys in terms of, yeah, Fall Guys has like less than 2,000 viewers at the moment. Fall Guys fell off hard after Among Us came out. I think because of the simplicity and accessibility of Among Us. Even then, you know.
Welcome to the Rogue Room.
Welcome to the Rogue Room.
Hope you enjoy your stay.
I can't get it up. There we go. Welcome to the Rogue Room. Sit down, grab a drink, and chill out with us. You actually never played before tonight? Period is gone. Fantastic. That's what we like to hear. It's some Bible verse, apparently. You know for a fact. Let's get my qualms with people quoting Bible verses out of the way is they always cherry pick Bible verses and interpret them in ways that are beneficial to their already existing viewpoints. So, I never trust anything somebody quoting Bible verses has to say. Revelation 17:4. Let's have a look. What's Revelation 17:4? Do I have an OnlyFans? Yes, there's nothing on it. It's going to be a fitness thing. What does Revelation 17:4 mean? Not that I'm a qualified personal trainer or anything. The woman was dressed in purple and scarlet and was glittering with gold, precious stones, and pearls. She held a golden cup in her hand filled with abominable things and the filth of her adulteries. That is what this says. Parallel verses. That's the... What's this one? NIV. What's NIV stand for? Are you going to tell me, or are you just going to sit there loading forever? New International Version. Okay. ESV. The woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet and adorned with gold and jewels and pearls, holding in her hand a golden cup full of abominations and the impurities of her sexual immorality. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup full of, in her hand full of abominations and the filthiness of her fornication. So basically these people just found thesauri, found the thesaurus, and they just went around. It's like, okay, well, they already said immorality, so we'll say fornication because we know that's what they mean. Don't trust the Bible. Anyway, we'll come back to this. National International Version. No, King James Version, but yeah, there's so many versions of the Bible, so many interpretations, so many excerpts have been taken out, so many things have been put in. Anywho. The filth of her adulteries, a cup of STDs. I mean, it sounds pretty badass as like a horror theme. Like you've got this character, you know the creepy woman horror archetype. We've got Resident Evil Village coming up, and honestly I'm very tempted to pick it up because big booby tyrant lady has got me seduced. But, you know, the idea of a woman who's perhaps her curse, you know, I mean, say what you will about the Bible, and I do believe it is a distinctly, to use this word that is abused like crazy, it's a distinctly fascistic text. Like, the idea of the Bible is designed around control specifically. But the Bible itself, in terms of a fantastical storytelling inspiration, there's a lot of good shit in there that I would love to write on. Magic! There you go, cunt. Look at the autofocus. A human, yeah, I'm a human being. With fucking biceps. Look at that. Which are pitifully small nowadays. I swear my arms used to be so much bigger. I have lost like 25 kilos though since August. So, I'm a human, yes. Human being. I mean, at the moment, I'm just a bunch of pixels arranged on the screen. Changing colors, all that, as I move over here. I am working out, I just... The thing is, I started taking estrogen. So, and conveniently enough, testosterone blockers, which if you want to grow lots of muscle, blocking your testosterone is not really the best way to do that. Generally speaking, guys who want to grow a lot of muscle go the opposite way. They take a lot of testosterone. HRT, baby. Christianity is a slave religion, it is. I did watch Jim Sterling's latest video and it was marvelous. Absolutely marvelous. I'm so happy for them. They're absolutely an inspiration. Almost enough to convince me to go to the front desk at my gym and get them to change my name on my file there so they don't refer to me as my dead name anymore. Hey Steal Your Loot, how you doing? Welcome back. They always have been cool. You know the thing that sucks though? You know what really sucks? And I shouldn't pry. But I have noticed since they've come out, they've lost about 3,000 subscribers. I've noticed at least, maybe even a little bit more than that. I might have not kept track, but their subscriber count has been going down. And you know without a shadow of a doubt, it's because they came out as an NB. Macaroni or ramen. Here we go. Here's a poll for you. You finally made it to the stream pink room. How you doing? Welcome in. What's going on, lovely? I'm gonna vote, not ramen. I'm gonna vote macaroni on this one personally. I haven't had macaroni in ages. I want some. I'm gonna cast my vote for that one. There you go. You guys can vote macaroni or ramen. Have a go. Have a go of it. Vote. Get your votes in. You lovely folks. How rude of you. You never watched Jim Sterling? You should. They are very worth it. They are very worth watching. They're a very, very clever, very intelligent political commentator and gaming commentator. If you want to know about the bullshit that's going in the games industry, you got to check out Jim Sterling. Fantastic person. You doing well? I'm doing well. I'm doing lovely. Me at Abby, what'd you say? What'd I miss? The fact that your religion teacher admits that is a good thing. Yes, exactly. My ears are falling apart. My kangaroo ears are falling apart. No. Stay up. Oh god, I loved Total Biscuit. Total Biscuit was so good. One of those people who's like, back when I was super into YouTube originally in the first place, and like if I had stuck around with it and not drifted off in the first place, I might have actually been somewhere significant now. But back when I was getting really into YouTube, Total Biscuit, I would watch every video he released. So good. And just really, he'd put out a 40-minute video, I'd watch the whole thing. Back when I was in that can't keep my attention for more than 10 minutes kind of phase. Like, I'd watch anything he put out. It was incredible. So, Macaroni's leading by 5 votes, guys. Macaroni is leading by 5. I don't think ramen's gonna win. I don't think ramen's gonna pull it through, guys. I'm sorry if you're a ramen head, but if it comes down to the wire, I'm not gonna get a Vite Ramen affiliate ship. I'm gonna go for like whatever macaroni company will sponsor me. Macaroni wins. Fatality. Am I a feminist? Of course I am. Of course I'm a feminist. And everyone should be a feminist. Every single person should be a feminist. You'll find really good education on LGBTQ plus topics that aren't talked about in school on YouTube. That is true. That is true. You'll find a lot of stuff on YouTube that they will never teach you in schools. The unfortunate reality of the situation, though, is like some of that information on YouTube can be really good. Some of that information can be really good, but there's also a bunch of stuff on YouTube that is inherently the opposite of factual, and those very same people will say the same things. Like, oh, there's lots of good stuff that they won't teach you in schools on YouTube. Thing's not staying. There we go. Your innocence poofed from YouTube. There's a video, you can look this up in your own time. There is a video on YouTube of a man jacking it, and it's supposed to be some kind of instructional video. I believe it's jelking. It's an instructional video of YouTube, a man, his whole penis out and in his hand, erect. I don't know. It's still up there. Millions of views, by the way. High definition video. It's not a pornographic video. There's actually, here's a funny one. Here's a funny one. There's also a video of, I find this, not censored at all. Not censored at all. I find this rather interesting. There's also a video up there on YouTube of a couple having sex. And they've attached a camera to his, and you get imagery from inside. I don't know why I know these things. We talk about Invasion Day? Grapefruit technique? Possibly. There are also educational videos on how to suck dick. So, like, what's YouTube's terms of service on this? Like, they know they're not a pornographic platform, but you would think those particular videos, even in an instructional educational format, would still fall outside of the paradigm, outside of their terms of service. You would think, like, you could do this thing as an instructional video with a toy, perhaps. I mean, you see Moist Critical with his giant fucking dildos. Obviously you can get away with showing a sex toy, but like the actual genitalia, going inside of the genitalia, etc. Like, goodness gracious me. On TikTok, people talk about real-life racism and stuff. Their videos get deleted, but TikTok celebrities grabbing their bits in front of their minor audience doesn't get taken down. I know. It's a bit... Do I have any Magic, what are you doing? Wake up. I will slap him. Magic. Yeah, I've noticed that we had this discussion... Check chat for me. We had this discussion yesterday, kind of. I'll do it. There we go, I got it. We had this discussion yesterday about...
We hope you enjoy your stay.
Oh my goodness. And now you're gonna follow me. Okay. Bye. Followed after being banned. RIP. You were jacking off to that video, to the jelking video? No, what was I gonna say? Fuck. We were talking about yesterday. And I've made a clip of this. I'll put this on the YouTube channel about how Twitch and other platforms have a tendency to keep people on the platform. Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, all of these will keep people on the platform that break the rules all the time. I distinctly remember, right? There's an SW, you know what SW stands for, who I am an acquaintance with. We're not like friends, but we chat every now and again on Instagram. And she has constantly complained about the fact that there are women on Instagram who've got millions of followers and will occasionally post a full nude on their Instagram, never cop any ban for it. Meanwhile, she's posted virtually fully clothed photos that are all like lingerie photos or whatever. And because she's a smaller account, she's had her account suspended on several occasions. So people who have, and like this applies to a number of different things, not just sexuality. And this applies to any of the bigger creators on platforms like Twitch and YouTube and all of that. At the absolute most, these platforms will give someone who is big enough, who has a big enough audience, which means money to those companies, they will give them a very temporary suspension to say, oh look, we're actually enforcing our TOS. No one is free from our TOS. But it's a load of bullshit, of course. Because, like you mentioned, I thought you meant the girl who got suspended on Twitch for 3 days for totally just flashing the whole gash. Like, it was virtually goatsy on stream. 3-day suspension, she was back on Twitch in no time. And, you know what happened there. You wanna know what happened there? Cat, I swear to fucking God, if you jump on my desk. Get it up. There you go. Enjoy that one. Here's a cat. We've got a cat now. Here's Smudge. Dropping by to say hi. You know what would have happened to her is her OnlyFans subs would have went up massively. Because that girl was obviously an OnlyFans girl. Get off the desk or whatever. Sit down. Stop. Sit. Because that obviously... Yeah. Meow.
On you.
Thank you so kindly for the 18 bits, Rena. Lovely, lovely person, you. Twitter is also discussing there's a prediction that Twitter supports maps. They advertise maps. Cancelled and more. They don't.
Welcome to the Rogue Room. We hope you enjoy your stay.
Seek help. Anyway, meow. Oh, you need to wait. You need to follow that Insta. Oh, the stripper. I have heard there was something going on, and this is the thing: is like any imagery of child endangerment in any way on Twitter is already against their terms of service. But there was evidence. Hello, Croc. How you doing? What's going on? There was evidence that there was outright child pornography on Twitter, and they were not doing anything about it, and they were saying it doesn't break their terms of service. So that alone, you know, like, in what capacity is that not against your terms of service? You literally have a policy that is against child abuse and harassment. I think, hey Sabu, how you doing? Twitter didn't take down blackmail child porn. Yeah, that's right, that was the story. There was I think it was a 13-year-old kid who was, of course, naturally abused. And, the photos and videos were posted up on Twitter to try to blackmail that kid. And I think the kid has filed a lawsuit against Twitter for them not... Let me look it up. Let me get my story straight. Then we'll go back to the Australia Day stuff. Child exploitation. Here we go. Child exploitation. Twitter sued. This is from Fox News. Remember, keep your expectations in check. I'm going with the news sources that I've got, and Fox News reported this. Twitter sued by survivor of child sexual exploitation. This filing. Shut the fucking cunt up. The filing alleges Twitter didn't take appropriate action until it was contacted by a federal agent. Go away! I don't want to watch your shitty video. Have I ever been to New Zealand? Happy chappy? No, I have not, but I would absolutely love to go at some point. I would love to go there. It's gorgeous. My family's been there. I would love to go see all the scenery of New Zealand, honestly. Far more than I would like to see the rest of Australia. Australia is a flat fucking desert with a rock in the middle of it. You want to stalk Jacinda or not? Trans-Tasman! That's a good trans joke.
Welcome to the Rogue Room. We hope
Happy
you
chappy,
enjoy
welcome to the
your
Rogue
stay.
Room. Grab a drink, sit down and chill out with us. That was good. So, this is from, I think, 4 days ago. A minor boy and his mother are suing Twitter, alleging that it benefited from and neglected to remove and exploited a video featuring him and another minor, which was retweeted thousands of times and at least 167,000 views on the platform. Announced on Wednesday, the federal lawsuit claims that the minor, John Doe, and his mother repeatedly contacted Twitter about the content, but the social media giant allegedly didn't suspend accounts distributing it until a federal agent from the Department of Homeland Security intervened. According to the filing, one of multiple traffickers tricked the boy into providing explicit images to a Snapchat account he was led to believe belonged to a 16-year-old girl. After obtaining the explicit content, the traffickers allegedly blackmailed the boy into providing the video that ultimately spread on Twitter. Plaintiff John Doe was solicited and recruited for sex trafficking as a minor, reads the lawsuit brought in part by the National Center on Sexual Exploitation. After John Doe escaped from the manipulation, child sexual abuse material depicting John Doe was disseminated on Twitter. When Twitter was first alerted to this fact and John Doe's age, Twitter refused to remove the illegal material and instead continued to promote and profit from the sexual abuse of this child. Twitter did not directly respond to this specific accusation when contacted by Fox News, nor did it respond to the claim that it only suspended related accounts when a federal agent intervened. Instead, a spokesperson told Fox News, Twitter has zero tolerance for any material that features or promotes child sexual exploitation. We aggressively fight online child sexual abuse and have heavily invested in technology and tools to enforce our policy. Our dedicated teams work to stay ahead of bad faith actors to ensure we're doing everything we can to remove content, facilitate investigations, and protect minors from harm both on and offline. Well, I don't think Twitter directly promoted it. I think it's entirely possible that somebody on Twitter was using the promotion feature and Twitter just didn't do anything. Wednesday's lawsuit was just one of many to emerge in recent months as large content distributors like Pornhub faced mounting scrutiny over child sex abuse material and sex trafficking victims on their platforms. Tech giants like Facebook and Twitter generally enjoy immunity under Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act, which former President Trump and others have suggested repealing due to apparent political bias in the way platforms censor content. This might sound cliche. Yes, I have visited Australia Zoo, and when I was younger, I actually did see Steve Irwin in person when he was alive. I was very, very young. And I think I've been there twice, at least twice, I think, and I've also seen Bindi Owen. So, I didn't meet them, like, face to face, but I did see them doing, like, a little presentation about fucking koalas or whatever, I don't even know. Animal handlers are some of the nicest people, though, I swear to goodness. People who are taking care of the animals in Australia Zoo and the reptile park and all that, they're lovely people. John Doe's filing highlights how Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey recently defended his decision to permanently suspend Trump, using his statements as evidence that of selective enforcement. And now we get into the blah-de-blah-de-blah. Oh, they banned Trump, they're not a free speech platform. We found it very interesting that Twitter over the last few months has really shown the world what kind of policing of their platform they are capable of, what the technology is that they have at their fingertips, and what they are able to do. Lisa Harbour, partner at the Harbour Law Firm, told Fox News in an interview. She's serving as co-counsel with the NCOSE and the Matiasik firm in San Francisco. Matiasik? I don't know how to pronounce that. Alluding to post-election content moderation, she added that you would think that amongst everything they're able to police that there would be a premium priority on the protection of children. I agree with this. If they cannot protect children on their platform, I mean, realistically, you can't make a Twitter account under the age of 13 anyway. You shouldn't be able to make a Twitter account under the age of 18, in my opinion. They literally have policies stating that they'll do that, but their practices say another word. Twitter has denied enforcing its policies with a political bias. The filing also details communication between John Doe, his mother, and Twitter. One email shows Twitter telling John Doe on January 28, 2020 that it reviewed the content and didn't find a violation of our policies, so no action will be taken at this time. You have to be fucking kidding me. You have to be absolutely the fuck kidding me. They reviewed child sexual exploitation content and found no violation? You have to be off your fucking tits, mate. What do you mean you don't see a problem? The minor asks in a response that same day. We are both minors right now, and we were minors at the time these videos were taken. We were both 13 years of age. Harbour told Fox News that video accumulated 167,000 views within a day. A screenshot also shows it obtaining more than 2,200 retweets and 6,640 likes. John Doe is seeking damages under the Federal Trafficking Victims Protection Reauthorization Act and claiming that the platform was a significant cause of his distress. As the suit noted, recent legislation has clarified that Section 230 doesn't apply to platforms that knowingly facilitate sex trafficking. DHS told Fox News it wasn't able to comment on pending litigation. Holy fucking shit. That's absurd. I might need to reconsider my addiction to using Twitter as a daily social media platform. Or maybe I can complain about Twitter on Twitter. One ear down, fuck it. Just... You get what you pay for. This was $2. Like... It's not gonna stay up. Look at me. I look stupid. Content, folks. This is content. The thing going around on Twitter where some asshole in US Congress wants to check... Oh, I saw this. Check all girls to see if they are a girl or not so they can compete in sports. Straight up trying to check for the wrong genitalia. And of course, that particular thing was endorsed by a Catholic church, if I'm not mistaken. I believe so. If you have a link to it, send me a link. Anyway, shall we get back to this our main story of today? The world is fucking messed up. Like, you know what annoys me, right? You know what really irritates me is the fact that as a kid, I would watch movies where the bad guy was doing something like embezzling, or was doing something like maybe he killed a guy and that's why he's the bad guy. Maybe he just beat the protagonist's dad or slapped him or something, and that's why he's the bad guy. That's why the kid adventurer
Welcome to the
trying
Rogue
to
Room.
tackle bad
We hope
strangers.
you enjoy your
Welcome to the
stay.
Rogue Room. Sit down, grab a drink, and chill out with us. You know, back when I was a kid, the villain in movies, there was a few movies. Obviously, you got stuff like Fern Gully, where the villain is deforestation. The villain is real serious shit. But there were a lot of kids' movies where it's like the bad guy did nothing serious. And I wish I could go back to a time of ignorance, a time of childlike innocence, where I believed that the worst thing a person could do was steal $100,000 in a briefcase from the company they work for. The world is fucked, and like, realistically speaking, like a lot of the worst villains in all the fiction we see, the inspiration comes directly from real life. Die Hard's villain is pretty intense. I need to watch Die Hard, I never have. Why does my voice sound like a man? This is a woman's voice, what are you talking about? The world is super fricked, it absolutely is, Phoenix. The bad guy in a lot of kids' movies is coded feminine, you think? I mean, there is a lot of issues with queer coding in kids' movies, especially like Jafar in Aladdin, very queer coded villain. Effeminate. Okay. Yeah, post a link here, drop it here. I will need to watch Die Hard. Which I believe there was a justification for why Die Hard is a Christmas movie that basically explains, to sum it up, oh yeah, I remember saying this. To sum it up, I believe none of the events that led to the events of Die Hard, if the events were different, if it wasn't set around Christmas and all these kind of things, like this is why Die Hard is a Christmas movie, if it wasn't for the Christmas party that was happening, then the events of Die Hard could not have taken place, and thus, therefore, it has to be a Christmas movie. This is the justification I've heard. So if you have that debate with anyone, bring that up. Okay. Anyway. I haven't watched it. I'll have to give it a watch soon. House Republican introduces anti-trans legislation that could lead to genital exams for schoolgirls. He looks like a child molester. This man looks like a child molester. Of course he does. Because they are. LGBTQ Nation. I need to follow this website. House Republican. Of course he's a Republican. Introduces anti-trans legislation that could lead to genital exams for schoolgirls. Like, jeez, like fucking why? Jesus Christ. We will get to the Australia Day shit soon, I promise. What was I going to say? A congressional Republican has introduced a federal bill that would ban transgender girls and women from participating in school sports. We love this discussion. So much so that it's in my fucking rules to not talk about the trans women in sports thing, but I can talk about it. You can't ban me from my own channel. Representative Greg Stuber introduced HR 426 yesterday, which would threaten federal funds to state and local athletics organizations if they allow a person whose sex is male to participate in an athletic program or activity that is designated for women or girls. Send image and links as long as they're safe for work, of course. Because this is work. I could get fired if I show NSFW stuff on my stream. They could fire me. Twitch could fire me. And then I wouldn't get my monies. Bam's the ban channel. The bill does not describe exactly how schools should determine what someone's sex assigned at birth. It is just vaguely stating that sex shall be recognized based solely on a person's reproductive biology and genetics at birth. Completely, by the way, overlooking the fact that intersex people exist. And sex-based biology. Yeah, let me just quickly look at this. And just gotta verify. Also, Imager. Trans girls. X-men. I'll take it. Oh my goodness. Yeah, this kind of shit completely ignores the existence of intersex people, and what's another example is like we mentioned the nationality thing. Typically speaking, I've noticed a lot of Islander women are much stronger and taller than, say, your typical white woman, typical Asian woman. Like, there's biology that goes like the biology of your race and your genetics from your parents and all of these kind of things can factor in. So when they go on about reproductive biology and genetics at birth, like, there are still numerous other things. Again, I will constantly go on about the fact that sports and athletics and all these things are inherently going to be unfair no matter what you do. I need to add some kind of a, like, look at you guys over here. You can barely read your text because you're on a white background. I need to fix that somehow. I'll figure that out. Anyway, because I like having you guys in my YouTube videos when I do my YouTube uploads. Anyway, I haven't been doing stream markers. I'll do a stream marker here because why not? In a press release, Stuber touted support from the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops. Shocking! The Catholics want to look at children's genitalia. Amazing! Who would have guessed? I certainly wouldn't have guessed that. Stunning. A Christian organization run by men. It just keeps going. Run by men that has already attacked President Joe Biden for supporting further expansions of abortion and contraception. We need to expand the rights, the reproductive rights of women. I'm going to say this right now, there is absolutely, under no circumstances, any reasonable defense of taking away abortion and contraception. If you are in favor of taking away abortions, contraception, and natal care in general for women, you're just trying to control women. There's no other argument to be made. Okay, pro-life is explicitly a let's control women narrative. Okay? Attacked President Joe Biden for supporting women's reproductive rights. Anyway, Stuber said in the release that the point of the bill is to help cisgender women participate in women's sports. They still can. Go back to the whole Olympians thing. There are no transgender Olympians, transgender women Olympians. Also, there's that funny meme that gets around on occasion where you will see two students wrestling, and one of them is particularly masculine looking. And the right-wingers, the rightoids, love to bring this up as an argument. It's like, look, see? There's a trans kid fighting. Like, this is why we shouldn't have trans kids in sports. It's a trans man who's been taking HRT, a trans boy, wrestling on the girls' team because of legislation that made it so that trans boys compete on the women's team and trans girls compete on the men's team. So, Cat, you need to get the absolute fuck out of all of my cables, bud. All of the cables are not a place for you to hang, friend. I need to cable manage a little bit over here. Especially now that I've got the mic cable and the camera cable just hanging there. My cable management leaves a lot to be desired. But you don't need to see that because you got all my pretty lights here. And it's cute. I was looking at... I'm still looking at the light strips for the shelving. I'm gradually coming around to the idea of keeping these. Simply because if I buy light strips for them and I stick them to the inside of those shelves, then I'm going to have customized my shelves. And I'll want to keep them. So it's cheaper for me to buy light strips for an existing shelving unit than to buy a new shelving unit and put strips on that. I don't know. I am considering like cube storage though. Which is kind of cute. You know, the little boxes. Like... Well, that one over there, but you can't see it. Making gender dysphoria stronger. I know. It's fucking great. Fucking dandy. Let me tell you. Anywho, as we were saying, the bill, which is unlikely to come up for a vote in the Democratic House, would be a direct challenge to the Biden administration's position that anti-LGBTQ discrimination is already illegal under federal law and that transgender people have the same rights to participate in sports like anyone else. In a sweeping executive order signed on Wednesday, Biden expanded protections for LGBTQ people and specifically cited discrimination against transgender people in schools. Can someone tell me, does the Q stand for queer? Because I use the phrase queer as the catch-all. Because, you know, as much as I love the LGBTQIA+ and all that, I just prefer the term queer as the catch-all. Am I okay to do that? I'm a queer person. I feel like I should have the authority to say, yeah, I'm gonna fucking do that, bitch. Not like I'm calling them a slur. Children should be able to learn without worrying about whether they will be denied access to the restroom, the locker room, or school sports, Biden's executive order said. Yeah, I prefer queer as well. Queer's a good term for it. Stuber introduced the same legislation in the US House early last year, and Rep. Tulsi Gabbard introduced a similar bill later in the year. Fuck Tulsi for that, by the way. Senator Kelly Loeffler, she's fucking laughable, this bitch, introduced similar legislation in the US Senate. She is so detached from reality. Kelly Loeffler, I need to show you like the debate with her and Reverend Warnock, where she asked him to denounce socialism and Marxism. She asked the guy to denounce socialism and Marxism. As if remember when they tried to ask Trump to denounce white supremacy? That's what she was going for. That was her angle. Denounce socialism and Marxism as if those have anything equivalent to white supremacy. Like, excuse me, bitch. You have any education whatsoever? She is fucking hilarious. Same with like Marjorie Taylor Greene. Stupid people. In 2019 and 2020, a wave of Republicans in state legislatures all over the country introduced bills to ban transgender girls and women from school sports, and Idaho Republicans succeeded in passing one such bill, which is being challenged in federal court. The Idaho law allows for a female student athlete's gender to be challenged and requires the athlete to undergo medical exams to prove it. The doctor, the law says, will have to examine the athlete's genitalia, hormones, and DNA to make a determination of their sex, something that Democrats pointed out is not recommended by the American Academy of Pediatrics, because the American Academy of Pediatrics realizes an absolute pedophile move when they see it. Goodness fucking gracious. Stuber's 2021 bill says Stuber's 2021 bill does not state... Oh my god. Stuber's 2021 bill, live streaming by the way, does not say how state and local sports governing bodies should define or check a student athlete's reproductive biology and genetics at birth. All the bill does is threaten their federal funding if they don't. The bill contains no language banning states or schools from using forced genital or DNA exams on girls and women who want to participate in school sports. His bill also doesn't have similar requirements for boys or men who want to participate in sports, meaning that the genital exams would only be for girls or women. Shocking! Misogyny from Republicans! Never would have fucking guessed. Transgender equality advocates argue that the entire point of this legislation is to deny transgender women are women, claiming that being assigned male at birth makes one constrained to the category of man and the so-called biology of maleness for their entire lives is tantamount to erasing the embodied and lived experience of trans people. A woman who is trans is a woman, wrote ACLU attorney Chase Strangio in a Medium article about the GOP attempts to force transgender girls and women out of sports. And all the science we have demonstrates that not affirming trans and gender expansive kids who they are results in catastrophic mental health consequences, including devastating rates of suicidality. Is that a word? Suicidality. I mean, suicidal ideation is typically where I go with that, but suicidality works. It is literally just a cover-up for pedophilia. This is just a perfect example of them both A, being as misogynistic as they fucking possibly can, controlling the rights of women. I guess suicidality is a word. And yeah, it's a total pedo cover-up move. Like, there is absolutely no... And you know they are going to appoint the doctor themselves. The doctor who loves to look at little kids' genitals. Probably this fucking wanker. He's probably going to go and say, oh yeah, by the way, I'm a doctor. I'll be the one investigating your genitals today, children. That's what he's going to... He's going to be the guy. It's so fucked up that they... It's so fucked up that they moralize this somehow. It's so fucked up that they are able to successfully moralize pedophilia. Like, there is no reason. I mean, I even speculate. Unless your child has a really itchy, bloody rash down there or something, no one should be looking at their genitals. Other than them. You know, like... In which case, obviously, the doctor would look at, like a proper GP would look at it. But even in that circumstance, like if you're, there's no reason anyone should be looking at a kid's genitals if they are not directly related to or an actual medical professional. And this circumstance, of course, is entirely unjustified. Did you know that many southern states have legal loopholes where a pedo gets to stay out of jail and marry a child as long... I'm gonna vomit. I'm seriously considering getting the bucket. Fuck me dead. You drank Friday night till 6 a.m. Saturday morning and 2 fingers on your hand went numb and still remain numb. Yeah, maybe go to the hospital, Jeffrey. Might be a good idea. It's to fight single teen... Oh my fucking god, the justifications these child molesters come up with. Jesus fucking titty dicking Christ. I don't... And I'm not surprised. This is the thing, I'm not at all surprised. You know, we hear about this stuff in... I'm not trying to generalize, but we hear about this kind of stuff in the Middle East and in countries like India, and we hear about these weird laws that these third world countries have about distinctly pedophilia. Outright pedophilia. And it baffles and boggles the mind thinking about it in that context. It's like, how can they think that that's a normal thing that a person can do? And then we have to realize this kind of stuff is still going on in the West. You know, in Western countries that are generally considered, you know, morally upstanding, which is a bullshit lie, by the way. Fed to you by colonialists and imperialists. Women who are child brides have been trying to get the laws passed to find the clothes. Yeah, fuck, I hope they succeed. You just have let the South succeed. No! Get the women out of there! You should not let them secede. You should punish them and get them to change their laws and close the loopholes and save girls and women from that torment. Do not give them the benefit of the doubt. Goodness me. Well, yeah, obviously, but it's just, oh my god. Can we take all of the pedophile? I mean, this is the one reason I hope Bill Gates does microchip all of us, even though, you know, like I've said a million times before, you're already being tracked. Can we track all the pedophiles and cart them off to their own nation? Where they can just, like, be away from us and from our children? If you're in Florida or Southern States, one of the women is pregnant, married, 11. God damn it. Just microchip the pedos. Yes. We should. Absolutely. Anyone who's even, like, we have the technology now to be able to track these people. But of course, you get into that sort of shit. And there's a slippery slope. It's like, oh, you can microchip the pedos now. Well, they're going to start microchipping the Jews next. Pregnancy is the game changer. Parental consent isn't even involved. Fuck me dead. Oh, I think I've had enough about pedophiles for right now. I am going to bookmark LGBTQ Nation, though, and check back in on them. Because I feel like we could, have I got... Yeah, news. I'll put that in news. In my news bookmarks. Because that's a good source to have. Shall we go back to Straya Day? You want to go back to Straya Day, and we'll talk about a different kind of evil. We'll talk about genocide. That's fun. We'll talk about the denial of genocide that many Australians experience. So kangaroos. I got my little kangaroo ears. And my Aussie flag dress, which is fucking dumb. I hate this thing so much. I hate this with a vengeance. But quite frankly, I'm going to use this for something. I'm not going to burn it. I'm going to keep it. But I'm going to use this for something. And drop bears. Those are real. Those are real things. Drop bears are very real things. My friend Michael died to one of those. Ripped his entire face off just in one go. And then he just dropped. Did you see Baraka's fatality from Mortal Kombat 11? Where he just grabs the person's face and tears it off? That's what drop bears do. And then he grabs the front of your skull and rips that. They do that as well. They start with the face, rip the skull off, they eat your brain. Drop bears are fucking terrifying. They are stupidly intelligent, but they are also very, very much a minority in the animal kingdom. Thereby, they have not overtaken us just yet. But I secretly believe... Well, I don't secretly believe this. I do believe that the drop bears are off somewhere instituting a breeding program, and eventually it's not going to be worry about the drop bears in the bush. It's going to be worry about the drop bears in the CBD in Sydney. They're going to try to take over. I'm serious. Watch out for drop bears. Anyway. Fun. There's a lot of fun stuff to remember when Republicans talk about how bad third world countries are where girls may be too poor to attend school anyway. Yeah. It's a fucking shitty situation all around. I feel like I'm gonna need alcohol to deal with tonight. And I bought some. I've got some wine there. I got some Moscato. Got some lovely Moscato. Anyway, shall we come back to this? Shall we come back to, listen to our voice, Invasion Day rally, crowds march through Melbourne. We'll come back to this story. And then if we have other stories come up, we'll mark those for later on. I've got a bunch of stuff I want to go through, actually. There's a whole article I want to look at. Hydrate, I just did. Luckily, I got my water bottle right here. So I'm using the cup for the sake of the Aussie flag on the side of it. Because we're trying to be as stereotypically ochre as we bloody well can, mate. Fucking yeah, cunt. Australia did bad shit. I don't know what is all... Yeah, we did a lot of bad shit. Especially the whiteys. Especially the Caucasians. The Caucasity. Can't remember what they're called right now. You can't remember what. Trigger warning, murder, racism, and transphobia. Instead of people being dickheads over LGBTQ plus being I don't know what that's supposed to say. People need to start caring about trans black women's murder, plus transphobes need to stop caring about trans women more because apparently being a man is a gift. Oh, that whole thing. That's a whole... Wombats, yes. That's what you mean. Yes, the trans... I will say this distinctly, that... trans women do get the majority of the focus in trans discussion, in trans discourse, which can be a relief for trans men, I guess, that they're not being targeted as much, but they are still absolutely being targeted. Play Dark Souls, not today. I will, though. I do want to. I do want to revisit Dark Souls, because that game is home to me. But, yeah, I think with trans women being the focus of the discourse, you've got the unfortunate side effect of a lot of people either forget trans men exist, and anytime you mention transgender, they immediately think of transgender women. Which on the upside of it is transgender men just get to skirt under the radar, really. And especially given that trans man HRT has a lot more significant impact physically. So if you see a trans man taking testosterone a year, 2 years, whatever, they've got facial hair, their voice deepens, they gain a lot of muscle and body hair. They immediately look like a dude. Well, not immediately, obviously not immediately. But like, you know, I've seen men with very feminine faces. Strawberry Phoenix, thank you so kindly again for the raid. Let me give you another shout out, please. There we go. Thank you so kindly for swinging by with your raid tonight. Appreciate you so much. Have a good one. Get some sleep. Have a good rest. But yeah, like the effects of HRT on transgender women are prominent after a few years, I think. I mean, my experience is fairly limited because I've only been on it for a few months. But, yeah, it feels like trans men skip out on the discourse. I mean, I've seen, obviously there are trans man content creators that you can look to if you want to get a feel for what trans men are experiencing in terms of transphobia. But there is a lot of the arguments against trans men are like, trans men are stealing the lesbians away, or lesbian women said trans men are just lesbians trying to escape misogyny, yeah. Or they're saying they want to be a part of the patriarchy, or they've been coerced into the patriarchy, or whatever. You're a trans man, you dress masculine and feminine, and you're part of drag. You want he, him pronouns, but for fuck's sake, women's style is great. Kat, what are you doing? Women's style is fucking fantastic. I'm loving going dress shopping and shit. Even if I can't afford it most of the time, I love buying new dresses and new fashion accessories and stuff like that. By comparison, men's fashion is incredibly drab. Incredibly plain. You have a few transgender men folk and they for sure grew facial hair quickly and their voice got deeper almost faster than the teens going through puberty. Yeah. Which is an unfortunate side effect if they decide to detransition, but again, like we've mentioned a few times in the past, detransitioners are like the minority of the minority. There are so few people who detransition. And it's crazy when detransitioners are brought up as an argument against all trans people. Like we saw in the UK with Kira Bell. She detransitioned from a man, had HRT, had surgeries and all that, and then was used as an argument in favor of shutting down puberty blockers for trans teenagers in the UK. Again, I'll keep reiterating this, a distinctly genocidal move by the people who were involved in that decision. Get education, transphobic loves, absolutely. Anyway, back to Invasion Day. We did read this part, but I'll go back to it so we got the whole story. Not trans people. Thousands of people have marched through Melbourne's CBD in a socially distanced, COVID-safe rally to mark Invasion Day. The protest went ahead despite coronavirus limitations. Coronavirus rules limiting gatherings to 100 people, with organisers encouraging attendees to split into smaller groups as they set off from the steps of Parliament House. Aboriginal leader Uncle Bill Nicholson told the crowd there was a deliberate ignorance in Australia about the history of the land. The British tried everything to eradicate us after their invasion, but it didn't work. Indigenous activist Uncle Gary Foley said he had gone to a similar rally on January 26, calling for justice and truth 51 years ago. Give me 1 second. Let me look up what this is. In some instances, Aboriginal people above a certain age will refer to themselves as elders. It is important to understand Aboriginal people traditionally refer to an elder as auntie or uncle. There we go. That's what the uncle thing is. So they call themselves uncle as a thingy. This is about Australia Day, so today is Australia Day. Straya Day. Today is what we typically call Australia Day. Those of us, me included, who disagree with the notion... Give me a second. I have an idea here. No, fuck it, you know. I'm not going to bother with adding another title. Those of us who disagree with the notion refer to it as Invasion Day, because it is the day that Captain Arthur Phillip and his crew moored in Botany... Was it Botany Bay? I'll have to revisit that. We're going to do a little bit of Australian history a little bit later on. And that signaled the invasion of the landmass we now call Australia and the systemic eradication of Aboriginal people. And so January 26th, 1788, I think it was, is a very, very dark day for First Nations people. You know, for Aboriginal people, Indigenous people, we also call them. And as a result, there's been a lot of discourse around Australia Day for a long time because it's celebrated on a day that is distinctly a dark time for Aboriginal folks. You know, and despite all of the discourse around change the date, which we'll get into that a little bit later on, there's still been no progress towards actually changing it. There's been many, many suggestions, and for reasons, and there's also a bunch of legislative bullshit behind it. There's been minimal progress in the avenue of trying to change that date. So that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about Australia Day and the issues surrounding it. And the people who get entirely too fired up about their white supremacy day. And the thing is, I don't disagree with the idea of an Australia Day. It's just the fact that it's on January 26th, which again is a dark day for Aboriginal people. It's an explicitly traumatic day for them and their culture. And the decision to not change it is explicitly white supremacist in nature. It's dismissing their concerns in favor of tradition, and it's not even that old of a tradition. We'll go into that soon. Indigenous activist Uncle Gary Foley said he had gone to a similar rally on January 26 calling for truth and justice and truth 51 years ago. Some of us have been doing this every year, calling for greater awareness and understanding of Australia's history. That's what this day really is all about, he said. Nothing has changed. What has changed, standing out here looking at all of you, mob, is that large numbers of ordinary Australians are out here with us. Protesters in the 1970s were fighting to raise awareness about the disproportionate number of Indigenous people incarcerated in Australia and dying in custody. That led to significant change in Australia, he said. The Aboriginal Embassy changed the course of Australian history, and we are again in an epoch, a moment of our history where we have the same change again. The Black Lives Matter movement is not going away here or overseas. Following a minute's silence, two women with white ochre on their foreheads sang a mourning song while the crowd beat their chests in time with the clapping sticks. There's some protesters outside Parliament House today. Victorian Senator Lydia Thorpe, I can't pronounce these, so just forgive me, Gunai Gunditj Mara, I believe, and Ja Wurrung woman told the crowd January 26 was Invasion Day and not a day to celebrate, and I entirely agree with that sentiment. 10-year-old babies are being locked up in this country. Is that something to celebrate? Why are people having barbecues and shrimp on the barbie instead of celebrating the death and destruction of the oldest continuing living culture in the world, she said. She described a slimy pandemic of racism in Australia that needs to be eradicated. It's killing us, she said. In a second speech delivered when the march reached Flinders Street Station, the senator told the crowd it's time for treaty. No more bullshit symbolic gestures, no more change the date, no more Uluru statement, no more constitutional recognition, no more survival day. This is Invasion Day. This is our day of mourning and we want a treaty. Protesters split into smaller groups for march. Socially distanced groups of about 100 began marching down Burke Street at 11 a.m. Most were led by government-approved coronavirus marshals wearing red armbands. Red armbands? You couldn't pick a different colour? The red, yellow and black of Indigenous flags stretched hundreds of metres up the tram tracks of Burke Street, given life by the leg-slapping, clapping and chanting of individual groups. Indigenous rappers AB original song January 26 blared along Burke Street as a group with a sign stating Captain Cook brought the first pandemic past. Other signs read White Australia has a black history and no pride in genocide. 18 legal observers monitored the event, equipped with video cameras and business cards outlining protesters' rights. Their role was to gather objective evidence in case of trouble between police and protesters. That's sad that has to be said. Couldn't pick blue or even gold. Red is bright, but yeah, there are other colors they could have picked. Honestly, do the high-vis like greeny yellow color. That's what I do, the reflective colors. 18 legal observers, we'd said that. Police also filmed the protest from the rooftop of the Imperial Hotel. Families turn out in force. Indigenous woman Kanisha Bamblett, 20, said that she was excited to be there with her entire family. We bring our whole family every year just to show each generation. In our culture and community, that's a very, very big thing for us. We carry on to the next generation the history we were taught, and we make sure to pass it on. I love her mask, by the way. Aboriginal art is gorgeous. Ms. Bamblett said her 5-year-old brother Ricky had been to the rally several years in a row, but this will be the first one he properly remembered. Just to make sure we bring our kids here too, to make sure we are fighting, not just we come... To make sure we are fighting, not just we come here together today, it's more than that. Clint Fisher, Kerry Robinson and their 7-year-old son Rufus Fisher drove into the city for the Invasion Day rally from Bellbrae near Bells Beach. I think it's important as a white Australian to be a good ally, said Mr. Fisher, to educate the kids on how important it is to be proud of our black history. Ms. Robinson said there was real momentum around Indigenous activism in Australia. I think that young black people are going to make things change really rapidly in the next couple of years. I think the momentum has been building, and it's like they've burst through the gates. You can see it everywhere and feel it. And, I mean, this is really good because the unfortunate backlash of this, the fact that this argument continues year after year, it seems to me like, again, like they've said here, we keep seeing more and more of this backlash against Australia Day every single year. And it does feel like we are at a breaking point of some kind. And hopefully, like, again, changing the date, like they said, they want a treaty, but changing the date is a hugely symbolic gesture. The fact that they have not changed the date at all and have not moved towards it at all, is in the inverse symbolically outright ignoring the arguments they've been making. You can tell a gay story once I finish this, yes. Ms. Fisher said that in the future... Oh, Mr. Fisher, sorry. Said in the future he hoped Australia Day for his children would incorporate all of Australia and it won't celebrate a day that started with the First War and genocide. Yeah, like, this is the thing. Yeah, change it to a day that is not the 26th of Australia. 26th of January, not the 26th of Australia. Incorporate all... It's like the very fact that it's on the beginning day of all of that awful shit that happened in 1788 moving forwards... explicitly excludes Indigenous people. By keeping that 26th of January date, it excludes Indigenous people, which is just flagrantly wrong. Celine, a 24-year-old student who asked for her surname not to be published, said neither rain nor restrictions would have deterred her from attending the march. After the year we've had, the Black Lives Matter protests, months of being stuck at home, it was really important to me, she said. Tensions... Oh, fuck right off. Are you fucking serious, cunt? Do you guys know that the Proud Boys was just unanimously agreed to be a terrorist organization in Canada? Like they were legally ostracized from Canada? This fuckwit, who looks like a racist even if he wasn't wearing the Proud Boys banner across, like, who the fuck are you, cunt? Are you fucking serious? A man draped in an Australian flag and wearing a Proud Boys t-shirt clashes with protesters. Fuck me dead. Do you want to know something, Beth? There was a Trump march in Melbourne. In a capital city in Australia, which I think, yeah, Melbourne is in Victoria, and Victoria has been under the strongest lockdown of all because Victoria's been going through serious COVID cases recently. Prior to the election results, I think it was prior to the election results in America, there were Trump protesters in Melbourne. In Melbourne. You're in a different country, you fuckwit! Off you go. Bye-bye, cat. Whoops, I twisted him around a little bit when I put him down. Yeah, Proud Boys, it's unsurprising. It's entirely unsurprising that these racist fuckwit cuckolds are all over the planet. Police were forced to break up a scuffle between protesters and a man in a shirt bearing the name of a far-right political group. Gee, I wonder what that could be. The man arrived at the protest wearing a black Proud Boys shirt draped in an Australian flag emblazoned, Abigail, goodness gracious me, with "Come on Aussies." I've come on a few Aussies. I need a technical difficulty scene, please. Can I get a technical difficulty scene? I have issues. And I need to do a technical difficulty scene. Oh, goodness fuck me Christ. He blew up an Australian-themed beach ball and stood for several minutes until a protester approached and kicked the ball out of his hand. Fucking good. A face-off ensued as a group of protesters gathered closely around the middle-aged man, and the two parties pushed each other without throwing punches. Police stepped in between the groups shortly after and started leading the man down Flinders Street into a car park where police vehicles were parked. Like, these people, these Proud Boys types, or at least him, they said there were a couple of groups? And a man in a shirt bearing the name of a far-right, so he was by himself, by what I'm reading. Stepped in between the groups. It's one man and a group against him, but whatever. You don't do this shit unless you are trying to start violence and make the other people look bad so that you can reinforce a racist narrative. You do not do this shit unless you are trying to start shit. This guy has no reason to be here. It's absolutely perfectly fine to punch a Nazi. Please do. Alright, at every given opportunity, punch a Nazi, please. Save the rest of us the trouble. The man arrived at the protest. Oh, we already read this bit. It's unclear if the man was planning to attend a People's Australia Day parade protesting the cancellation of Melbourne's Australia Day parade. Again, Melbourne is a COVID hotspot, so they shouldn't have parades in the first place. The event was hosted by the Melbourne Freedom Rally Group, which was associated with last year's anti-lockdown protests. Proud Boys is a male-only... I keep forgetting that part. The Proud Boys is male-only. There's no female members, unsurprisingly. I believe the organization was founded specifically under misogynistic ideals. Like, they outright state that they're a misogynistic organization. Right-wing political group that the Canadian government this week labelled a terrorist entity. I was just talking about this. The man's shirt had "Fuck Antifa" written on the back in reference to the left-wing anti-fascist political group. Literally anti-fascist. Thinky. There you go. Enjoy that one. Tuesday's protests were peaceful until the man's arrival, and speeches continued soon after. Dawn morning services. Earlier on Tuesday, hundreds of people, including Melbourne Lord Mayor Sally Capp, gathered for a dawn morning service in steady rain at King's Domain. Don't play your fucking video. Stop. A minute's silence to remember those who had passed was led by senior Wurundjeri elder Auntie Joy Wandon Murphy. Our heartache and loss cannot be measured, she told the crowd. Still today we lose too many of our people. Bunjalung Yorta man and historian John Patton told the crowd that January 26 represented a day where many minds and hearts are in conflict, but they don't need to be. It's been interesting to see over the last 2 years how the winds have changed in our direction, he said. More and more Australians are starting to see and starting to speak out and understand that there is something more to be said about Australia Day. Mourning Day, Invasion Day. Later in the morning, Wurundjeri elder Joy Wandon Murphy took aim at Prime Minister Scott Morrison in an impassioned speech at a flag-raising ceremony at Melbourne's Government House. Last week, Mr. Morrison told Cricket Australia to stick to cricket after the governing body scrapped the term Australia Day from the promotion of its Big Bash matches. Fuck him. Fuck Scott Morrison and his bullshit. Hello, Kaz, how you doing? We'll be back in 20 minutes. You got a shower. Radio Zinky, have a good one. Have a good one. Fuck this dickhead. Fuck this dickhead. Prime Minister Scott Morrison has advised Cricket Australia to stay out of politics and stick to cricket after a recommendation to dump the words Australia Day from promotions for Big Bash League fixtures on January 26. Fucking hell, Scott Morrison should stay out of politics. He's a fucking dumb cunt. Jesus Christ. He loves to go on about how good the sports is, how good the cricket is, until Cricket Australia goes, we're not going to say Australia Day, fuck Australia Day. Stay in your lane bullshit, and this is what right-wingers love to do. To, like, actors, whenever an actor comes out in support of a political movement, they'll be like, stay in your lane, stick to acting. I'm going to say this right now, like, literally everybody should care about politics. You should be a political person. You should know what's going on in a political sense. I still need to educate myself a lot more on the political spectrum here in Australia specifically. I need to know what's going on, but you should have passionate opinions about the politics of your country. You should know what's going on, and you should have thoughts, and you should have opinions, and you should educate yourself on it. No matter what your role in society is. No one should stay out of politics. Everybody should get involved with it. The voice of the people, especially in a democratic nation, obviously, is the most important thing. You know, you need to know things, and you need to comment on things, and you need to make your voice heard. I firmly believe that. Excuse me. I might take a break in a moment. We'll finish this article, and then I'm going to take a quick be right back. Go to the bathroom. Grab some wine. I think we should get into the wines. Although, can I be naughty and get KFC for dinner? I could order it. No, I had sushi today. I won't do that. Dang it. Where were we? Oh yeah, the Big Bash matches. Arnie Joy said those comments show the fight for Indigenous equality had gone backwards under the current government. I'm very disappointed in what the Prime Minister had to say about Cricket Australia when in his first term of office he made a statement about changing the Constitution. We talk about let there be trust, let there be confidence, and all we hear is about being patient. We've almost lost that patience. Victorian Governor Linda de Sauce said Tuesday was the first time the national anthem would be sung with the words "For we are one and free" instead of "young and free." We are one and free. Okay, they're changing the national anthem now, I suppose. Well, there we go. That is the Invasion Day rally through Melbourne. I hope that was educational for you. I hope that helped to open your eyes a little bit. We have some more stuff that we're going to go into very shortly. There's also a rally in Sydney. There's another long-ass article here where 5 people were arrested in Sydney. We could look at that, or there is a couple of other things that I would like to look at. Actually, there's something regarding Scott Morrison that I'd like to talk about when we come back in a moment's time. So I'm going to hit the Be Right Back screen very shortly. You watched a few KFC videos today. Yeah, I don't know why, but like the taste, the scent is in my nostrils, on the back of my tongue. I'm like, but I want a drink. And if I have a drink, then I can't go drive and pick it up. I could get it delivered, but then it'd be like $30 fucking. Order some KFC, and I can't justify that. I really cannot, by any reasonable stretch of the imagination. Let me think. Yeah, we'll do a Be Right Back here. Your team won and is now in the finals. Fantastic. Oh, hang on, I missed this other message of yours, Cats. You hate the catch cry of sports shouldn't be political, but sports can have a round for the cops, and a round for ALS, which is a good thing, and a round for blood cancer, which is a good thing. Game for Anzac Day, about the only day that gives war the gravitas it fucking deserves, instead of cheering that we brutally slaughtered people. Exactly. I'm considering doing something for Anzac Day as a video. I've got a video that I'm working on right now, which is for February. When is Anzac Day? I'm wondering if maybe I should do a video, April, 25th of April. Should I do a video for Anzac Day? A video essay of some sort. I'm not sure about the exact context I would frame it under, but I've been considering doing these video essays that are tangentially related to a relevant topic. And if I had... I forget Australia Day exists until it's happening. This is what I mean, is like I generally ignore Australia Day, but for the purposes of today's stream, I decided let's do an Australia Day thing because it is such a hot topic. It's always a contentious issue worth talking about. And I'm thinking now, it's like there are things that are going on in the world, and there are special events that always have a controversial discussion that I could contribute to through my video essays. But what would I do for Anzac Day? You reported the troll for ban evasion as well as hate speech. Oh, thank you, Beth. Thank you. Let's see if Twitch does anything. Oh my goodness. Alright, so Anzac Day is actually about fuck people died. Meanwhile, days like Australia Day, Independence Day are like woo, we slaughter people, yeah. These kind of national holidays, patriotic holidays, are generally speaking, very... What's the phrase I'm looking for? People died, they're about celebrating... Generally speaking, like nationalism. They're generally about nationalism, and that's not a good thing. I firmly believe nationalism is not a good thing. Being proud of your nation like you didn't do anything most of the time. Anyway, we'll be right back. That's the right button, isn't it? I guess it is. Yeah. Seems to be, but my Stream Deck didn't light up the button correctly. Let me fix that really quickly. I don't know why it's done that. Oh, because it's got different icons. Alright. I'll be back in a moment, folks. Don't go away. Grab yourself a drink. If you are seeing an ad, consider subscribing. Hello, friendos. What's up? Hank, what's happening? What's happening? Stretch your legs, by the way. Maybe it's because I've been doing too much in the way of leg day. Like, I've been doing bike cardio, like, consistently lately. My legs today are fucking dead. Holy shit. Stretch these bitches out, would ya? Oh my god. Like, I'm fucking dying here. All damn day, dude. I've been trying to stay out of my chair for too long, because I do that. Even when I'm off stream, I do tend to sit at my desk for excess lengths of time. But holy fucking hell. You know what? I need a lav mic so I can stand up here and I can talk at you. You can actually hear me. But I need to get a lav mic. That's an investment. That's a thing what I can do. I'll put you down a little bit. And if I sit you there, you can see like the top motion. Hello, Miserabella. How's it going? Oh, and now I'm way too low. I'm all the way down here. But I want you to see my shelves and. Oh my god. I'm sore. My legs hurt. My legs are fucking aching. Like I said, I do cardio on the bike, 20 minutes on the bike every day. Plus leg day twice a week. Meaning my legs are always going to be the most muscly thing about me. And I did squats yesterday and I got deep. I got deep squats below parallel, so that means my quads and stuff were below my knees and on these squats. Wasn't very heavy, but getting depth is important because it means growth. And you might have seen my tweet where I'm like, I don't stop until it hurts. I don't stop until it hurts. So I'm feeling it today. I'll probably be feeling it tomorrow. Tomorrow's chest day. Anyway, today, however, is straya day. What's going on, Miserabella? Anywho, just thinking about what Abby said about doing something for Anzac Day. You often thought to yourself what your life would have been like if you'd been alive back then versus what you would do if a world war broke out now. Something to consider. That is true. I mean, I dare say a lot of the people who were living their lives normal day-to-day bullshit in the time of World War I and World War II, and then World War broke out, conscription happened. These kids who had lives ahead of them, who had aspirations, these people who were just living and existing, and all of a sudden they're getting drafted to go off to war and fight and die for a country that didn't care about them. And that could be a thing. But it doesn't feel particularly relevant to my content, my video essay content though. As cool as the idea of touching on that topic would be, I'd need to find a way to tie that into a relevant current social topic, I think. Because that's going to be my major focus with my video essays. And in general, my streaming content stuff. Yogurt and granola sounds fucking awesome. Sounds fucking awesome. Your brother is perfect age for conscription and he has 2 sons. Yeah, that's the thing too. And that was the thing that happened back then. It's like you would have these boys who would have children. They'd be and they'd do it now, obviously. You have people signing up to be in the military. Primarily, like, I guess Australia does it too. You join the military, you join the Navy or whatever. I never would. But to get an education, right? You join there to get an education and you get a successful career or whatever. But of course, if war were declared, you get sent off to fight and die in another country, because it's never in the Western countries. It's always in another country, conveniently enough. It's like, you're going off to fight for our freedoms? Why are our freedoms in the Middle East, kind of thing? I already made that joke, but I'm going to do it again because it's a good one. Ow! I just pulled on my headphone cable. Okay. Shall we? What were we doing? Not this one. This was not the one I wanted to talk about. I got some wine now, by the way. Ha! I got some Moscato. Moscato. So, amidst those protests in Melbourne and Sydney, at least in Sydney, there were some arrests. But I don't want to do another protest march article. So, let's read this bullshit from our Prime Minister about Australia Day. Wine or wine? Both. I'm gonna sit here, I'm gonna whine about the news. I'm gonna whine about Australia Day and all of the bad things it represents. You got a coffee? Nice. Isn't it like past midnight where you are now? You said it was 11 p.m. before? I'm fidgeting with my bloody ring. I gotta stop doing that. Such a nice ring though. Look at that. Gorgeous. Thank you so much to the absolutely lovely Nicholas, whose name escapes me right now. Nicholas is all I know him by. Outer Peace Gear, I think. Yeah. Outer Peace Gear made this ring. They're on Etsy. And I'm going to drop their link in chat. If you want to buy some queer shit, buy it from them, because they helped me so much while we were trying to figure out exactly why my ring wasn't arriving in the first place. We figured out it was my fault, and they sent me another ring for free. You're drinking water, but that's not Moscato. Moscato's better. It's sweet and bubbly. Specs. I need to update that, I think. Maybe. Oh, maybe not. Magic, do you have any recommendations for RGB strips to put in my case? I'm looking at a few right now, and I'm not sure what to get. So, anyway, every person who has drank water has died, I know. You know what's funny? Is the fact that there are legitimately people who will not drink water. They believe it's a conspiracy. They'll only drink other beverages, which, by the way, have water in them. But they'll only drink other beverages. I've heard stories of these people who believe there's some conspiracy to get us to drink water. I'm like, what? Imagine if that other ring accidentally went to a transphobe who wasn't across the trans colors and they started wearing it because it's pretty. Not really an RGB fan. Well, I saw these. Let me bring up my Amazon wish list really quickly. Someone who doesn't like the taste of water. I've heard of people like that. Well, first of all, we want to bring these up, but there are these ones I'm looking at. These RGB strip lights, which are pretty cheap. There's another set that's even cheaper on M-Wave, but with shipping, they end up costing more than this, I think. Well, this is free delivery on Prime International orders over $49. So I was like thinking of getting something like this and putting those in my PC. Because I haven't got any strip lights. I've only got RGBs on the gadgets inside there. So I want to add some strip lights to it. Because it looks fucking cool, alright? I'm sorry that I'm such a fucking stereotype. I'm sorry. But I enjoy the aesthetic. Listen to Adam Sandler and The Waterboy. Oh yeah, true. I haven't seen that in ages. Conspiring against me to make me drink water. No, I'm here. I'm conspiring against everyone else to make you drink alcohol. Get on the Moscatos. Join me in alcoholism. It's great. It's great. It's great. And also these. I want to get these things. These are stupid expensive, as you can plainly see. I'm not anyone's brother. Not anymore. But these look so fucking sick, dude. I want to get a pair of these for my desk. Put them behind my monitors. They look fucking awesome. I think they're 422 millimeters tall, so that's... Give me a sec. Let me get the cat's attention really quickly. Watch this, okay? Watch this. This is fucking hilarious, right? I guarantee you. Give me 2 seconds, right? Wait for it. That's how big these towers are. It didn't work. It didn't get his attention. That's how big these little light towers are. I want to get 2 of them and sit them on my desk. I'm 5'11" for context. Watch this. No? Smudge! He's on top of the kitchen cabinet. Maybe he's stuck there. No? Okay. Fine. We're not gonna play with your favorite toy together. He died. He's dead now. He got deaded. Can I just mention how good my arms look in this? Holy fuck. It's the lighting or something. My arms look fucking amazing right now. I love being lean, dude. I'm not trying to body shame anybody, but I love having a bit of leanness, being slim. Like my muscles are just popping lately and it's fucking awesome. I know that's not the most effeminate thing a trans girl can do, but I don't think I can get rid of my addiction to fitness. I have a filter thingy on your tap water and even got a water in a filtered reservoir thingy too. My mother has one of those and she never uses it. She has a big water reservoir thing that's got a filtration system and all that, and she just stopped using it. Fit girls are the best. Hello, Emmy. How you doing, lovely? How's things? When you were moving house, Cheney hid on top of the fridge and you couldn't find her and panicked and started searching the street, then found her and the look on her face. I remember I came home one day. Oops, I shouldn't do that. You just napped after work. Sounds like you probably needed it. I came home one day from something. I think I was dropping the kids off or something like that to their other mother. And I came home and I was looking all over the house like, where's Smudge? Don't tell me I accidentally let him slip out while I was getting the kids out the door. Or something like that. And I'm running around the house panicking. I checked every cabinet. All over the place. There is a... what do you call it? Like a chaise? Basically in my kitchen. Like leftover stuff from my mother's. My mother gave me a lounge set. And part of that was a chaise thing. Which I might move into my lounge room, honestly. And it's got like that much space under it. Tiny amount. He managed to squeeze himself under there. The only reason I found him was because he meowed at me. I'm like, hang on the fuck a second. And I went and I looked under there. I was like, how did you get under there, you dumb shit? Anywho, I want these light towers. This is something I'm genuinely considering saving for because they look so fucking good. The 2-set. 46 custom LEDs. 11 preset lighting profiles, and a removable headset holder. I don't use a headset, so that wouldn't really be relevant to me. But there was that. I want to get LGB, not LGBT strips, RGB strips. And then we're getting stuff like light panels, cyberpunk glasses, books and backdrops. I really want to get some of these stupid backdrops. I do not need any of them. But they would make for great video content to have like a bookshelf behind me or this elegant bullshit or this bricks thing. Just so I can drape it over my green screen mount that I've got. They'd be so good for videos. But at $30 a piece, you know, I'd have to save up and buy a bunch of them at once. I wouldn't be able to justify it otherwise. This one looks really nice. I don't know what I'd be able to use it for. Maybe a video on imperialism? That's something I considered. Anyway, we were talking about Skunt Morrison. Skunt Morrison. The guy who loves to call himself ScoMo. Do not call the Prime Minister of Australia ScoMo. He loves it. That's his relatable dad nickname. Alright? Let's clarify. The phrase ScoMo is the Aussie shortening of Scott and Morrison, his first and surnames. And he likes that shit. Stop calling him that. Scotty from marketing, he hates that one. He's an absolute dillweed who fell ass backwards through the system into the prime ministerial role. The leadership of Australia. It's baffling that this man has the top authority in the country. Yeah, he really did say that. But anyway, Australians have risen above our brutal beginnings, PM says. Prime Minister Scott Morrison says there is no escaping or cancelling Australia's history, and January 26 represents the day the land changed forever. Yeah, cunt Morrison, that's the problem. Mr. Morrison used an address to an official Australia Day ceremony in Canberra on Tuesday to say it was a day to reflect on that journey and the price that has been paid for freedom. Yes. The freedom for all the Aboriginals who lost their lives. They are now free from life. You genocidal maniac. As thousands attended rallies in capital cities, including at Parliament House in Canberra. You know what? Next year I'm fucking going to one of these things. I'm going to find a rally. I'll see if there's one happening in Sydney next year. I'm going to go to it. I'm going to bring a camera. We're going to record it. We're going to be there. I'm going to be there. Calling for the day. I might ask questions as well. I might go around and ask people questions. Calling for the day to be changed, Mr. Morrison said Australians had risen above our brutal beginnings. No, the fuck they have not. We have overtime. We do have overtime. We have overcome, survived and thrived, he said. We have learned, but yet we are still learning, and as the many peoples of the world joined our journey, we have become even stronger. The most successful and cohesive immigration and multicultural nation on Earth, the home of the world's oldest living human culture. Stop trying to autoplay your videos. Mr. Morrison said, see, you still did it. For better and worse, January 26, 1788 was the moment where the journey to our modern Australia began, yet at the cost of many millions of Indigenous lives. You're gonna head out, get it up, alrighty, have a good one. Reminds you of how you're abandoning Columbus Day for Native American Day. I mean, that's good. Looking at the website, it looks like an election can be called between August 2021 and May 2022. Yeah, I believe we are in line for an election soon. Which is, I'm going to be voting Greens or Labour Party. Probably Labour Party as my second option. Or third option. There is no escaping or cancelling this fact, and it is this continuing Australian journey that we recognise today. The Prime Minister was widely condemned last week for suggesting January 26 wasn't a particularly flash day for the convicts. Oh my fucking god. White supremacists, dude. Fuck me in the ass with a cactus, Jesus. Mr. Morrison said Australians... By the way, can I just mention, before we go on with the article, this layout is perfect. The article's over there, and I've got space over here for my camera. Whereas the other article we read, I was like covering up half of the text. This is great. This is fantastic. More of this shit, please. More like slightly aligned to the right, even that... I prefer left-leaning articles, but aligned to the right so they're out of my face. Mr. Morrison said Australia's stories since that day had been of sorrow and joy, loss and redemption, and failure and success. Whether it is the story of our First Nation people's strong, ancient, and proud culture and their survival in the face of dispossession and colonization, or the forsaken souls who came as convicts, not to start a new world, but because they had been banished from the old one, condemned and outcast by empire, they too overcame. You didn't overcome shit, you fucking wanker. I find gender-neutral man and guy offensive. I don't generally like them. I don't like the term mate either, though, or dude. I find that they still kind of align with... I mean, yeah, the hey guys thing is something I'm kind of weird about. Because I know some people are uncomfortable with it. It's a very tricky area to traverse, I think. It's very weird. It's very awkward. I got my other camera over here as well. That's not relevant to anything. I just wanted to show off my other camera. Like, I can do this shit. Stop. Anyway. These stories do not compete with each other, they simply coexist. They weave together to create Australia. Addressing reporters after the citizenship ceremony, opposition leader Anthony Albanese said it was a very difficult day for First Nations peoples. First Nations peoples didn't have a welcome to country for the First Fleet, he said. For them it was a time of dispossession, a time in which literally through the frontier wars, violence occurred, and one in which we need to recognise that our history didn't begin with 1788. Mr. Albanese said Australia needed to work out how to avoid the divisive debate that occurred every January. He said that January 26 could be a future date for a successful vote for constitutional recognition of First Australians. On Twitter they said to replace it with y'all. No, yeah, it feels too weird. I'm not sure what else you could use though. Everyone here are my bastards. You're all my bastards. My bastard children. I used to enjoy elections, but the one we had in the US was some of the most anxious you've ever been. I can totally understand that. Yeah, US politics makes me anxious too. It's really weird that. It's because I think, you know, what America does, Australia tends to follow, the UK tends to follow. Other, you know, Western nations tend to just do whatever America does, and that's why it's really dangerous when you've got a particularly Republican president. Can lead to some bad shit, dude. excuse me. For the first Australians, you can understand that this is a very difficult day for them. It is one of heartache and one in which they recognise what occurred to their people, he said. Greens leader Adam Bandt, attending an Invasion Day rally in Melbourne, said there was unstoppable momentum to tell the truth about the violence, murder and dispossession that was part of the foundation of Australia. We must be honest about the past and march towards a treaty, Mr. Bandt said. So there's that article there. And we are going to go into some details about the history of Australia soon. But there's another one. The Premier of my state. The audacity of this bitch to use specifically Indigenous slang. The Premier calls for unity on Australia Day, saying we're closer to being one mob. Those who don't know, in Indigenous culture, the term mob, generally speaking, refers to a family or cultural group, and in that particular context. So for her to use that phrase is distinctly insulting, almost. I would say it's insulting. But yeah, obviously we have Scott Morrison completely passing over all of the absolutely not just racist history of this country, not just institutionally evil history of this country, but the modern racism as well. Completely overlooks the fact that there are people and the institution itself refusing to acknowledge the real history of the day, change the date, institute a treaty, any of those things. Full of racist pricks and inequality. Fuck them. Absolutely fuck them. But not literally. Yeah, there's an attitude of we said sorry, they can get over it now. It's ridiculous. Especially given that so many people in Aboriginal groups, communities is the word I'm looking for, are still faced with a lot of disadvantage compared to other cultural groups in the country. They're still faced with a ton of issues. And this is why I decided we're gonna slam Australia Day on Australia Day, wearing the flag on my tranny body. Because I guarantee you, the majority of these fucking patriots, patriotic Australians, would absolutely hate to see a trans woman wearing the Australian flag. And that's why I decided to buy this piece of shit. Want to piss them off a little bit. Bigots. They're all the same. Gladys Berejiklian, for those of you who are not aware, looks vaguely like a troll. Closer to being one mob, Premier calls for unity on day that causes pain. Yeah, patriotic shit annoys me too. I am very strongly considering doing a video on patriotism, on nationalism, all of those ideas. I think there's a lot of content there. But I really need to kick my ass into gear and work on this next video. I have been incredibly lazy. I need to finally get myself into gear about it and get it done. Anyway, the thing that really annoys you is we have all but lost the opportunity to learn about the nuances of this great land of ours because our indigenous peoples knew this country better than anyone and could get the most out of it. Yeah, exactly. And one of the worst things is in the face of Scott Morrison saying, what was the thing that he said? I've lost my train of thought now. Risen above our brutal beginnings. He says this while he passes on motions that allow mining companies to destroy Aboriginal ancestral land and culture and all of that. There have been numerous cases of this. Taking your ramen back to your desk downstairs, it's super hot. They'll say in one breath, it's oh yeah, we've risen above our brutal past and we're going to destroy your heritage so you've got nothing left to reflect on. Fuck this country. Or rather, fuck the people in charge of it. New South Wales Premier Gladys Berejiklian has described January 26th as a day that causes pain for Indigenous people, but said she has renewed hope Australia was closer to being truly one mob. Again, that's incredibly insensitive of her to use that terminology. Ms. Berejiklian, who does not support changing the date of Australia Day, of course she doesn't, on Tuesday said the country was still evolving as a nation, that its past should never be denied. No one is denying the past, you silly bitch. People are asking you to change the date because it's explicitly the date of invasion that signaled quite frankly, the downfall of the indigenous people. Quite frankly, the genocide of indigenous people. Change the fucking day at the very least. It's like the simplest thing you could do. It's step one. They have not even completed step one yet. And yet, if someone destroyed an Anzac memorial, they would be held to pay. Absolutely. We cannot and should never deny any aspect of our history or the key milestones that have made us the nation we are today, she said in an address to the Woogalora mourning ceremony at Barangaroo in Sydney. I wonder if they actually mean mourning as in the morning, or mourning as in we were looking at mourning ceremonies as people being, more in mourning, people being in mourning over lost lives and the like. As we raise the Aboriginal flag alongside the flag of Australia, it renews my hope that each passing day, Australia Day, brings us closer to being truly one mob. I hope she got some backlash for saying that. She said embracing the pain felt by First Nations people was part of Australia's ongoing development, but added we still have work to do. Yes, the fuck you do, bitch. A ton of it. They have a ton of work to do. And it seems like every single year they always have more work to do, and it seems like they never actually take any stance. As the Premier called for unity on the Barangaroo foreshore, up to 3,000 people gathered on the other side of the CBD for a largely peaceful Invasion Day rally, condemned the January 26th celebration. Downstairs safely and no burns, that's good to hear. Protesters at the rally in the Domain shunned Australia Day as illegitimate, highlighting Indigenous deaths in custody and calling for reforms to address Indigenous overrepresentation in prisons. Police made 4 arrests following a scuffle at a secondary gathering at Hyde Park at about 12 p.m, which took place after the organised rally had concluded and was viewed by police as a separate group. Dunguri man and rally organiser Paul Silver said the rally showed momentum was still building after the 2020 Black Lives Matter protests. We are not getting closer to becoming one mob. We're still killed in custody. Our lands are still demolished and built on, like I mentioned before. He said, adding that the Australian flag was a symbol of genocide for First Nations people. Again, wearing it as an insult. This is not me being proud of my country or any shit like that. This is distinctly me disrespecting the flag. They treasure it so dearly. The Australians, the patriots. And again, I did try to burn one. Didn't work, because it's plastic, it melts. Here's me trying to be an edgelord. Fucking Christ. So disappointed. Oh my goodness. Also, my ears won't stay up. This one keeps flopping down. Stay up. The rally was among events listed in a guide on the ABC website, which caused backlash for using the term Invasion Day interchangeably with Australia Day. The article has since been amended. ABC alters article after Communications Minister slams it as wrong. I can't read this. Fucking hell, Sydney Morning Herald, you've reached your monthly free access limit. Well, that's gonna fuck me up, isn't it? Earlier this week, Ms. Berejiklian, don't play your video, said she was disappointed by the ABC article, while Deputy Premier John Barilaro on Tuesday accused the national broadcaster of causing division. Every nation has that dark side of their story, or things that we're maybe not so proud, but doesn't take away the right to celebrate. Yes, it does. We shouldn't have to rewrite that story, he told 2GB Radio, owned by Nine, the publisher of this masthead. New South Wales Aboriginal Affairs Minister Don Harwin echoed the remarks, saying Australia could not walk away from its past, but could work towards a more unified future. And the fact that they continue to hold Australia Day on January 26th specifically says they are not interested in unifying the country. Talking to best friend last night and said, instead of one Australia Day, we should acknowledge the separate original nations that used to make up this continent and go with whatever day they have for their national day. We have separate public holidays for show holidays, why not separate ones for each Indigenous nation? I believe somebody was being snarky and said we should replace Australia Day, like we should replace the Queen's holiday with a variant of Australia Day. I think that's fucking hilarious and we should do that. There is still much to be done to deliver equality and opportunity, he said. However, Upper House Greens MP David Shoebridge, who spoke at Tuesday's rally, rejected the government's message of unity, saying it lacked insight and leadership. Insisting on celebrating Australia Day on the day that marks the start of invasion, dispossession, or ongoing violence for First Nations people further divides us. Absolutely. It's not a day to be proud of. I don't know why people are so proud of the current date of Australia Day. Or rather, I do know why. I do know exactly why. Because the white supremacists. Like, I know exactly why they go out of their way to be so adamant about this particular day, but it really would not affect anything if they changed it. And at the end of the day, like even the events that the Indigenous people are talking about are not going to be amended by changing the date. But the fact that they keep Australia Day on January 26th is an inherently disrespectful move to the First Nations people in the first place. Not to mention this country just sucks in general. Auntie Catherine Dodd Farrell from the Kanjubiri clan said Ms. Berejiklian was repeating the same rhetoric as politicians before her. I've had one glass of wine and I can't read anymore. The same old talk there, not listening. How long have we got to sing out for, she said. Auntie Catherine's daughter Rebecca Mooney said Australia was far from being one mob. Absolutely. There is the amount of division I've seen from my fellow Australians. I have been around numerous different social groups throughout my life, and there is a consistent theme of division among Australian people. There's no one mob here. So many people hate each other, all the other different cultural groups that make up this country. There's so much back and forth mutual hatred between each other. There's no one mob here to begin with. And I don't just mean like Indigenous people. I don't just mean white people. I mean like any ethnic group. Any social group. There's so much division. There is no one mob in Australia. Fuck right off. There's a lie that goes around that Australians are some of the most accepting and welcoming people. That's bullshit, dude. Genuinely bullshit. There are some good ones, don't get me wrong. But there are some there's a lot of negativity in this country. And until we are acknowledged in the Constitution, education curriculums, day in, day out, until we get that, we are not going to be one mob, she said. This has been a day of mourning since 1938. There is a movement now, people are starting to get it, but until we have people leading this country who will be courageous and stand up, we won't see change. Opposition Aboriginal Affairs spokesman David Harris said change would come through truth-telling, talking about treaty and public discourse of Australia's history. This is not about a day, it's about what has happened over 250-odd years and how that has caused generational pain, which we will still see through poor outcomes for Aboriginal people. If you want to see it, just head west into the rural... Not that one. Just head west into the rural areas. You grew up in a racist, homophobic, bigoted, sexist, nasty area. Yeah, like, there's been a lot of people that I have met like I said, in various different social groups, and there are a lot of recurring themes of racism, homophobia, just general bigotry, obviously sexism. Like, these are themes that are consistent and persistent. Social media, another great microcosm of this very thing. There is a lot of division in this country. And all of these people will always go on about how great Australia is. These are the people who will wave the Australian flag the hardest, and they'll even claim the multiculturalism, they'll even claim the acceptance narrative, while doing absolutely nothing to enforce it themselves, doing nothing to encourage it themselves. It's ridiculous. I don't know why we even bother with continuing to push that agenda, I suppose. You could call it an agenda, in a sense. But, you know. Is the West in Australia similar to the South in the US? I think... Do you mean like Western suburbs? You mean like the Western suburbs? Let me have a look at something here. Oh no, I don't want to look at that. That's the Twitter hashtag. Oh, I can't read this now! No! I had another article. Rupert Murdoch slams woke culture in Australia Day speech. I have to buy a subscription because I used all my free articles. Motherfucker. That ruins things, doesn't it? What do I do then? Do we have any other backup stuff that we can talk about then? Because I'm not going to try to circumvent that bullshit. I'm not going to try to circumvent that right now. I wonder if, hang on, let's see if we can find this. Let's see if there's another article. Here we go. This is highly amusing. Here we go. This is great. This is just so stupid. Rupert Murdoch, the billionaire mogul behind Fox News, has taken issue with the silencing of debate on social media, saying censorship has hobbled discourse with an awful woke orthodoxy. This guy, whose own companies just gave him an award Mr. Murdoch, 89, made the rare public remarks during a brief video to accept a Lifetime Achievement Award from the Australia Day Foundation. The clip was posted online by the Herald Sun, a Melbourne newspaper owned by the media moguls News Corp. My god. The fucking woke culture bullshit, dude. Jesus. For those of us in media, there is a real challenge to confront, he said. A wave of censorship that seeks to silence conversation, to stifle debate, and ultimately stop individuals and societies from realizing their potential. The US Capitol riot on January 6 was followed by a purging of the social media accounts of then-President Donald Trump and others drawing complaints of censorship. On Monday, Twitter said it would seek to police the service more vigilantly for misinformation and introduce a new feature called Birdwatch. Fox News and other conservative outlets are under fire for fueling uncertainty about the US presidential election, which critics say contributed to the storming of the Capitol. Mr. Murdoch's own son, James Murdoch, has joined the outcry, telling the Financial Times that outlets that propagate lies to their audience have unleashed insidious and uncontrollable forces that will be with us for years. In his remarks from the awards ceremony, Rupert Murdoch said a rigidly enforced conformity aided and abetted by so-called social media is a straitjacket on sensibility. This fucking guy who owns most of the media in the world. Jesus, dude. This fucking guy. You must be joking. Why does anyone take him seriously? Honestly, why does anyone take Rupert Murdoch seriously? Why are we listening to him? Why are we giving him the benefit of the doubt, the benefit of... I have words. I know what words are. Why is anyone listening to him on this subject? He's a multi-billionaire. This is what I mentioned in Cancelled. It's always these people who've got nothing to lose complaining that they have the most to lose. Why do we give these assholes a platform? Well, he made his platform with his billions upon billions of dollars. Hold your horses for a second. I'm seeing this in my camera and it's annoying me. Why are my blankets not straight? I didn't even fix them. There we go. Maybe one day I should take a photo of my backdrop without me in it and use it as a green screen, but I wouldn't be able to get away with it, I don't think. Yeah, why do we give these assholes a platform? This is the thing, is, you know, realistically speaking, we don't give them a platform. They have their own platform. And there's little we can do to stop it. There's little we can do to affect the fact that they have a platform. And this is why it's so baffling and so amusing when they go on and on. And this happens on a broad scale. We'll take away the Straya Day label for now. It's sort of obnoxious. This happens with big creators, like super huge creators, content creators, and small ones as well. Now, but yeah, it's obviously like a bunch of big name celebrities that tend to be going on about cancel culture at the moment. The woke culture of let's stifle discussion. When more often than not, the discussion they want to have is explicitly one that excludes certain people. How green was my cactus was hilarious when they were in charge. Kevin Rudd wasn't the best, but damn, do you back him going up against Murdoch? Yeah, what happened there? What happened with the Murdoch royal investigation or whatever it was? Because they got 500,000 something signatures, I believe, to Royal Commission. That's what it's called, Royal Commission, into Murdoch Media, into the Fox News thing. Murdoch Royal Commission. Petitions list, Parliament of Australia. Kevin Rudd's calling for a petition. Petition calling for a Royal Commission into the Murdoch Media has been tabled in Parliament. Record-breaking petition calling for a Royal Commission into the Murdoch Media Empire has been presented to the Federal Parliament. More than 500... This was updated on 9/11/2020, so this is a few months old. I signed it too. More than 500k Australians signed the online petition launched by former Prime Minister Kevin Rudd. Another former Prime Minister, Malcolm Turnbull, publicly supported the petition. The pair believe Australia is on the American path to deep division unless Rupert Murdoch's hyper-partisan media operations are kept in check. Petitions Committee Chair Ken O'Dowd was impressed with the number of Australians engaging with Parliament and democracy. Mr. O'Dowd told Parliament on Monday that top paper petitions in Australian history related to community pharmacies and beer prices. When does Parliament next sit? That's a good question. When does Parliament next sit? Will events calendar, Parliament of Australia. Let's have a look. Senate sitting. House of Representatives. Senate sitting on the 2nd of February. House of Representatives sitting on the 2nd of February as well. Is that accurate? I'm assuming that's accurate. Upcoming events. That is the Australian Parliament of Australia website. How do we observe that? How do we watch that? What's on the... Oh, the 22nd has just gone past, so what's on the 27th? Senate House joint. Been using real estate to fantasize, and it's a Murdoch cash cow. Not surprising. Not at all surprising. Like, Rupert Murdoch owns, like, fucking everything. Honestly, he does. Fucking asshole. How much media does he own? Honestly, he owns too much. It's absurd how much he owns in the media. We have C-SPAN, but like an Australian version. What is C-SPAN? Hang on. I know of C-SPAN. What is C-SPAN? National politics, history, non-fiction books. Hey, 21th Fun Mon. How's it going? What's happening? I don't know. Created by Cable in 1979. Do we have something similar to C-SPAN? Your unfiltered view of government. Is there anything similar? Oh, Australia. Oh, that's just an article about Australia. It doesn't really tell you about what's going on here. I don't know. What would be the equivalent? Kez, would you have any clue what the equivalent of C-SPAN would be for Australia? Mostly just an all-day live stream. I do believe they show that on television. On one network of ABC or SBS, I believe they have that sort of live stream of what's going on in Parliament. There is a C-SPAN Australian Public Affairs channel. Australia, like we do have Question Time. Parliament Question Time Review, Question Time Highlights, Question Time Highlight. Question Time aka Play School. Just vibing at 4 AM sounds good, sounds chill. Yeah, as far as I know, like there's nothing quite the same. We could try to find an equivalent, but as we were talking about, God, I'm already tired. What the hell? I'm already tired, dude. Mr. Turnbull, a former Liberal Prime Minister, said the Murdoch media used to be a group of traditional right-leaning outlets, but has now become a vehicle of propaganda. We're still reading about this shit. For anyone out of the loop, Kevin Rudd's petition calling for a royal commission into Murdoch Media. Murdoch Media, which, by the way, is, I think, the biggest media conglomerate in the world. Or, like, Fox News, News Corp, or whatever it is. In terms of news media, biggest news media corporation in the world. And let me have a look, actually. Is Fox News the biggest news media? Let me see. History of Fox News. 5 facts about Fox News. I don't know, actually. But it is known that Murdoch Media is some of the largest and most propagandistic in the modern Western world. Owns something like 60% of all the world's media. There you go. There's that great video you can go and watch where it's a bunch of Fox News outlets, a bunch of News Corp outlets, that are all saying this is a great threat to our democracy, or whatever it is they said. And so they just like had a script that they sent to a bunch of different local news stations, and they're all parroting the same exact thing. Remember when you lived in Oakey but drove to Brisbane for footy, and as you were chilling in your motel room, you had Question Time on in time to watch Tony Abbott run from the room in a panic because he didn't want to be associated with another politician? Fox News, as you call it, because it's not news, it's propaganda or bullshittery. It absolutely is. Or faux news. Fake news. You are fake news. What counts as real news, Mr. Trump? What's the likelihood of his third-party threats going through, do you think? What's the likelihood Donald Trump is going to get his third party into American Parliament? So like we can dip off the Australia shit for a moment. Let me think. What do we got here? Mr. Turnbull said on ABC Television's Insiders program on Sunday that Australian democracy was suffering for allowing the crazy, bitter partisanship of social media to creep into the mainstream. We have to work out what price we're paying as a society for the hyperpartisanship of the media. Look at the United States and the terrible divided state of affairs that they're in, exacerbated, as Kevin was saying, by Fox News and other right-wing media. He warned that allowing the media to become increasingly partisan was dreadful for democracy because people ended up being unable to agree on shared facts to form the basis of political debate. This is one of the big things. This is like the real fake news. Is how often we look at the media around us, social media and news media and all that, and if they are heavily influenced by someone with a severe agenda, like somebody like Murdoch, then obviously you end up without news and you end up with propaganda instead. And that leads to a ton of people having the wrong view on reality, I think. Refusing to adhere to facts, actual facts, logic, reason. You liked OAN better anyway. What's OAN? 40% Trump starts a new party. Can he? Is the thing. One American News Network. Okay. Interesting. Also known as One American News, is a far-right pro-Donald Trump cable channel founded by Robert Herring Sr. This sounds like a joke. One of the first results is OAN last week tonight with John Oliver, so obviously him taking the piss out of it. Yeah, what do you think the actual likelihood is that he starts a... Like, everyone, asking everyone. And even if he does start a new party, what's the likelihood that he gets in again? And what's the situation with the impeachment situation? Is he still being impeached a second time? Or did they impeach him a second time and that means he can no longer run for president? On the one hand, if you want to be owned by the public, then that leaves it at the mercy of the government. But if it's privatized, well, look what we have here. Yeah. That's very tricky, isn't it? The mercy of the government, which can absolutely have their own agendas. Like, we know the governments themselves are not... Obviously not apolitical. Obviously not... what's the phrase I'm looking for? Like, not biased. They are biased. He ain't got anything better to do. He could die. If they don't get a conviction, he can run as Republican again until after the primaries. In theory, if he loses the primary, he'd for sure make a third party. He'd have to be found guilty. Do you think they're going to find him guilty? Is an interesting thing. Is an interesting question. The wine is hitting me hard, dude. Why is the wine hitting me so hard? I have like such low body mass that the wine is hitting me like fucking crazy. Let me have a look here. You know, honestly, the name of OAN, One American News, very much reminds me of the One Nation party in Australia, which is explicitly a white supremacist. Can I look it up, actually? One Nation. The One Nation party in Australia is explicitly a explicitly a white nationalist political party. Pauline Hanson's One Nation, also known as One Nation or the One Nation Party, is an Australian far-right political party. While One Nation has achieved only modest electoral success to date, it's the most successful populist party in Australia. Anyway, as we were talking about with the inquiry into Fox News, the inquiry into Murdoch, former Labour Prime Minister Kevin Rudd hopes an inquiry will recommend ways to maximise media diversity because the Murdoch media was like a monopoly. It absolutely is. It's virtually a monopoly. It's symptomatic of a broader cancer on our democracy, and my principal motivation in putting this petition together has been to bring to the surface this natural conversation rather than people being too frightened to talk about it, Mr. Rudd said. Murdoch has engendered a culture of fear in Australia about this discussion because he goes after people individually who raise this question, including myself, including Malcolm. So there's that. You seriously hope they find him guilty so they'd have a stronger case against other politicians that were seditious and fomented people to actions of treason and sedition. Absolutely. I am, like, fingers crossed that's what happens. Can you be honest here? You can be honest, I suppose, but I mean, if you're too honest, if you get what I mean, it'll probably lead to repercussions. But, you know, if you're gonna be nice, you can be honestly nice to me. Oh wow, okay, so, I suppose it makes sense. One Nation. Again, the racist party in Australia. Ideology, Hansonism. The ideology is Hansonism. That's fucking hilarious. The term has been used since 1998. Hansonism. Dude, are you serious, Kez? was added to the Australian National Dictionary in 2018, has been described as a form of right-wing populism. A common theme with Hansonism is the idea that multiculturalist elite are manipulating hard-working Australians into supporting certain policies such as Indigenous land rights. Goodness gracious me. This is literally a racist party that we're talking about, by the way. Straight up racist party. Can't believe she has a political terminology, a political ideology named after her. That's amusing. That's highly amusing. Of course, they're anti-immigration, anti-Islam, anti-communism, climate change deniers. Of course they are. Australian ultra-nationalism. Like, if the One Nation Party... The One Nation Party, I'm so glad they have not actually made any serious strides in politics. They are ultimately a fucking joke. But it's scary to me that if they were to get in power, they are so close to the equivalent of Australian Nazis that you could possibly get. We would have a fascist regime under Pauline Hanson's One Nation. Absolutely. And they're not currently led by Pauline Hanson. They're currently led by... Who are they led by? Mark Latham, I believe, is the current leader of the party. But I believe she's still affiliated with it, Pauline Hanson, in some way, because it's called Pauline Hanson's One Nation. We're going to talk about what happened on the 6th. Wait, it was the 6th? You love my eyes, Captain Oblivious. Thank you. Thank you so much. We'll talk about all the peaceful protests that happened over the summer. Stop making that comparison, honestly. That's ridiculous. Stop making that comparison. On the 15th of October 2018, a Senate motion brought by the party stating it is okay to be white. A Senate motion brought by the party stating it is okay to be white was defeated 31 to 28 in a vote. The government expressed regret at the support the vote received. Fucking hell, politics is ridiculous. Politics is so stupid. It's okay to be white. What is white, Pauline? This is a question I have for you. What is white? I think you hear OA and you think of the news channel on YouTube that is even more propaganda. What's the new? What news channel do you mean? I can't think of what you mean. Because people, here's the thing, right? The Black Lives Matter protests, the protests over the summer, could refer to them by what they actually are, you know. We're about people trying to fight for their rights in the wake of significant numbers of deaths and mistreatment at the hands of a system that has constantly oppressed them, versus a bunch of white supremacists storming the Capitol and threatening to take politicians hostage or kill them and try to take over the government. That's two totally different stories. Protests in the summer were peaceful until the cops started shooting people with rubber bullets and gas. There's that too. The violence came largely from the people that were being protested against. And anyone who was fighting back was doing so defensively. Like, what point do you have? Mark Latham joins One Nation. So this is where we were up to. I mentioned this guy. He looks so greasy. He looks like a used car salesman. And the cops arrested loads of people who were literally just sitting on the ground and being fully peaceful. That's true. That's another point to be made. And like, how many people have been arrested as a result of the Capitol riots? Yeah, I do agree. The Capitol riots did make for interesting television. One thing you'll say about the Queensland police is when we protested BLM, they just stood there and handed out masks. That's the ideal situation. Hey, you trans, I fucking love you. Hey, Paul, how you doing? How's it going? The amount of cops was absolutely astounding versus January 6th. There was barely any cop presence. There were police at the Capitol Hill storming who were there in plain clothes and showing the other cops there their badge as a symbol of pride and honor. Like, hey, look, I'm just like you, bro. And then we've got clips of people at the Capitol Hill riots being buddy-buddy with the police. Like, two totally different stories. Two completely different situations. I refuse to believe there's any correlation, any similarity there. These are two totally different events. I don't only do politics, I sometimes do social justice kind of stuff is politics, realistically speaking. You gotta bail. The woman you love needs attention. Right, that sounds good. I do also do a little bit of, how would you define it? How would you define my content? It's largely talking. Fox, thank you for the hydration. How would you guys define my content? Because I can't define it right now. I'm half drunk. It's always just chatting. We always talk about relevant events. We like to pick on CD Projekt Red and EA. That's true. We do talk about gender issues, talkative gaming, and rather yet arousing. I was actually supposed to be gaming tonight, but I'm moving slowly more and more away from the gaming thing. I'm finding myself not enjoying doing gaming streams as much. I prefer to be talking. I prefer to find stories that we can talk about, have discussions about. I think I'm going to try to figure out a way to put the articles I'm reading somewhere in the frame here instead of this scene, which is largely supposed to be my gaming scene. But we'll bring this over here. I like to talk about things. Variety of things. Current events. Social issues. The gender issues thing comes up a lot. Queer issues comes up a lot. Excuse me. Oh. That wine's hitting me, let me tell you. Pansexual pride. How do I get those? How do I get those emotes? Do I have them? Oh my god, there's tons of them. Jesus fucking Christ. Look, I got a little pride trans flag. Look at that. I drooled over Abigail Shapiro. That was it. Alright? I highly recommend watching Woke, especially when shit is happening, because they got their sources from all over the internet to live stream several points of view. I'll have to look at what Woke is. Been on Bioshock Infinite? Nice, nice. Yeah, you can call me Rogue. Of course you can call me Rogue. If the wine is hitting you, I better hit it back. I better hit the wine some more. Better get back on the wines. I think I'm actually getting hungry. I'm getting tired because I'm hungry, I think. And of course, having alcohol in your system doesn't help much. Excusez-moi. They stream here on Twitch, but mostly only when shit is going on. That's a thing that I am regretful that I missed out on the opportunity to do with the inauguration and the riots at Capitol Hill when that was happening. I wish I could have streamed. Like, my ideal situation is that I could go live and just hit the stream button and let's react to something that's happening as it's happening. I would love to be able to do that, but my schedule does not afford me the opportunity to do that, unfortunately. So if something's happening at 3 a.m., I'm not going to be able to keep up with it, you know? So, because, you know, if something big happens in the US... My hair is so thick, it is getting a bit thick, isn't it? I need to wash it again. It comes out really thick when I wash it. Looks a little bit greasy at the moment, it's gross. For a bajillion days in a row, they had protests from the summer and again a few weeks ago. Oh, I think wait, what? What do you mean? Like that channel did? Is it the lighting or... No, the lighting is doing that. Let me see if I can change my lighting. Yeah, my hair is just, my hair is just brunette. Where's a light that I can turn on? We could put it on party mode. This is unnecessary as fuck. It does help though a little bit. I'm loving the lighting situation right now, honestly. It's really helping with the vibe here. It's really helping me chill a bit. I think, back when I was streaming with the green screen, having like 3 bright white lights basically always pointed at my face was giving me headaches, I want to say. Get red streaks and tips? Yeah, I've had people tell me that I should get my hair dyed in some way, and I've thought about doing that, honestly. I feel like it'd look pretty cool. Maybe one day down the line. I do need to get my hair styled in some way, I think. Maybe like straightened or something along those lines. But getting your hair done as a chick is fucking expensive. Absolutely ludicrous. I sleep on a hellmouth? Wait, like... Is that specifically from something? Oh, okay, I see. I mean, yeah, I could, yeah. I can dig it. Looks pretty fucking cool, honestly. Like, yeah, why not? Can I get into trouble for any of these artistic depictions being shown on screen? reminds me vaguely of, like, that one specifically reminds me of the Sarlacc pit from Star Wars, but some of these remind me of this remind me of this thing that someone did called the, what was it called? The Mystery Flesh Pit National Park. This is such a fucking cool idea someone put together. One read it as colossal feat of world building. I can't really show you all the details in it because can I open the image in a new tab? There you go. The Mystery Flesh Pit. This is so cool. Someone has gone through and like detailed this mysterious fleshy pit thing. There's a national park, completely obviously fabricated. And they go into so much detail, and there's more follow-ups to it as well. There's a detailed internal images and things like that. It's so awesome. It's kind of the thing where like it'd be an awesome game idea. All of this world building, some game developer needs to hire this person to world build for a video game set in this exact setting. There is that game that's I think it's still in development or something. It's been in development for a while. It's not the same theme, but based on the works of... You gotta go, Captain Oblivious. Righty-yo, sounds good. Have a good one. Hope to catch you around again real soon. What was it called? I've forgotten the guy's name now. HR Geiger. Maybe let's see what happens if I search HR Geiger on Steam. Nope, that didn't help. Okay. HR Geiger game, there we go. My backdrop is not stars, it's just fairy lights on my curtains. They do look kind of starry though, don't they? I think they need to have their batteries. It looks like they're starting to fade a little bit, which sucks. But yeah, they do have a bit of a star vibe to them. Oh, Scorn! This is the game I was thinking of. Scorn. This has been in dev for like at least 3 years, and it looks really creepy and gross, but based on the gameplay I've seen of it, it looks really boring in terms of its actual gameplay loop. Scorn on Steam. Yeah, release date to be determined. It says it's a first-person horror adventure game, but I've seen it. I've seen footage of the actual gameplay of it. And though all of the artwork is badass as all hell, like if you love the Alien aesthetic or the Predator aesthetic, that kind of thing, that HR Geiger did really well. Scorn looks like it's going to emulate that, but then like the first-person gameplay of it. Thank you, Capri. Thank you so much. As I was saying, yeah, the HR Geiger thing, like it has a good visual style to it, but the gameplay itself leaves a lot to be desired. You're just like slowly walking around these environments, and sometimes something creepy will pop out and you shoot it to death. And some things are too strong, so you need a different weapon. You need a rocket launcher, but it's a fleshy rocket launcher, you know? It's the gameplay. They would have been better served to turn this particular game into a walking simulator, I think, and do like some atmospheric storytelling, then turn it into a shooter. There's an HR Geiger bar in Prague. That sounds pretty cool. Not an anime girl, but you reckon I'd love the philosophical and theoretical themes of Neon Genesis Evangelion. I've heard many good things about it. I have. But I've never... Yeah, I've always been rather distal to anime for some reason. Like, the only anime I ever got into as a kid was Dragon Ball Z. And that never really spiraled off into me watching tons of other anime like it did for a lot of other kids, I think. I think particularly... yeah, I think particularly shows like Dragon Ball Z, Sailor Moon, Naruto, Pokemon especially, in the West at least, influenced a lot of kids to get super into anime, and that's why it's such a big thing in the West now. Whereas, yeah, for me, like I had that momentary dipping my toes into it during my childhood and then never really followed up. I think I tried a few times with a few of the individual Dragon Ball Z movies. But, of course, I know there's more depth to anime than just that. But, It never stuck with me. For reasons... I mean, and now I can say the case is that I have lost my interest in, honestly, watching any kind of media, any long-form media, any TV shows, any movies, even the stuff that's like only 8 episodes long. I still don't really have much in the way of interest in watching them. I'm really just kind of I've lost interest in non-interactive media, and even in games, I've lost interest in games. So, want to flip you off? Sure. There you go, Paul. Did you redeem one? Because I didn't see it. I'm sorry. Oh, there you go. Now you did it. Thank you for the hydrate, Fox. Love the ones that actually explore themes like thought, crime, and psychopath. I do like those deeper themed kind of games.
Appreciates your recommendation.
Hey, thank you for the host, Paul. I was thinking of ending early because I'm fucking tired, dude. I'm so fucking tired. I don't know what it is. I've run out of things to talk about, so I'm just sort of rambling now. It's no longer like Straya Day as the topic. I'm just sort of talking about whatever. Trans pride worldwide, yeah, whatever. Fuck off. Fuck off, Botwick. We know you don't actually mean that. Oh gosh. Should we raid somebody? I think we should raid somebody. I don't know who though. Because I'm feeling hungry. I'm feeling tired. I'm feeling a little bit drunk. Steam of consciousness. You ate the yummy ramen and now you're starting to become a warm belly sleepyhead. Understandable. Completely understandable. Should we go to tuna? Steam of hams. I agree. Oh, she's not there. She's on Be Right Back screen. We'll sit around for a little bit until she comes back. Well, Sayatoth, one of your co-workers. Let's have a look. We could do that. Because I think I need to make some food. I desperately need to make some food. I'm exhausted. And I'm exhausted and hungry, specifically. Also, interestingly enough, not that I want to send you, my lovely viewers, away from me. Well, I do, because I want to have some sleep. I think I'm going to go to bed early after I eat something. We're going to go to bed early. We'll go raid your co-worker. Why not? Tomorrow's stream will probably be returning to the normal standard format, I think. Not so heavily political, but today was worth talking about. There was a whole other thing I wanted to go into about the history of Australia Day, but we're not going to do that now. I'm too exhausted. And we did touch quite heavily on a lot of the shit that's going into Australia Day and why it's the bad thing. I'm going to get rid of this stupid headband because it's dumb and it's hurting my head. There's my little kangaroo ears. And come over here for now. I've changed my billboard. I've updated my backdrop here in the outro scene, so it looks a little bit nicer now. And yeah, tomorrow we will be just chatting again, but I haven't decided on what specifically tomorrow's topic will be. Hope to see you there. I really do. If you have any suggestions for topics, please feel free to drop them in the Discord. If I can type, I can't even... Dude, I'm such a fucking lightweight with alcohol now. It's ridiculous. Follow me on Twitter. Even though that's the site we mentioned earlier that's apparently endorsing child abuse. But still, follow me on Instagram and all that kind of stuff. I will see you when I'm looking at you.